Good evening. Welcome to Soundtracks with Birdman. Tonight we're doing the 1992 classic Basic Instinct, starring Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone, and Janine Triplehorn, my personal favorite from the film. Tonight we have Erik Woods joining us as a special guest. He's coming. He's got some mic issues, he just said. And of course, as always, Age Boomer. How are you, my friend?
Good. Gene Triplehorn's your favorite?
Yeah, by far. Yeah. Yeah. Back me up in the chat. Come on, Zootopia. Come on, Big Al. Come on, Melissa. Who would you rather be with? Sharon Stone or Janine Triplehorn? Someone, come on, back me up.
Gene Triplehorn. Let me see. I don't know.
You just saw the movie last night. She's the brown-headed girl.
I know who she is. Yeah, brown-headed girl. Yeah, but she like dyed her hair weird colors and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. There's something about the dangerous woman. The dangerous woman. She's not dangerous. Yeah. She's just weird. Okay. Come on.
All right. Big Al's with me too.
Gene Triplehorn.
Right. That's right.
Boring. That's right. Let's talk about your inner feelings tonight. No, thank you. I'd rather hang out with the Sharon Stone character. Come on. I should know at this point what her name is. Hold on. So you
Stone?
Yeah, let me see. What was her name again? Basic Instinct.
Catherine Trammell.
Catherine Trammell.
Trammell,
not Trammell. Okay, that sounds like something else. Anyway, okay.
Troy says they're both hot. So Troy, would you just have both at the same time, like a chocolate vanilla milkshake thing going on?
Oh my goodness! You know, are we having this conversation? Is this going to be a clean stream tonight?
Yes, it will be a clean stream.
I don't know. Look. Here's the deal. I don't know. Gene Triplehorn's character in this. What else has Gene Triplehorn been in?
She's in Waterworld. She was in Mickey Blue Eyes.
Mickey Blue Eyes.
Yeah. There's a movie with James Caan and Hugh Grant. He played a British auctioneer dude who got engaged to this Italian girl who was in the mob.
And that was Gene Triplehorn. Okay.
Yeah.
So
as Troy says, she was in Big Love. She can have my Big Love anytime she wants it.
Oh man. Okay. Anyways,
Big Al sandwich. Yeah. Okay. Erik is here to join us. We're adding Erik. Hello, Mr. Erik. How are you?
I'm all right. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Save us from all the really bad jokes that have been going on.
Bring some civilization to the stream, please, because these men are acting like animals.
Well, just wait till we get into this movie.
I've actually done some academic research onto this film, so
it's a good one, man. Watched it last night, and I'm still seeing things and discovering things that I had never seen before, and still questioning what was really happening in the script and just how brilliant it is.
Yeah.
The amount of manipulation done, and you just feel like a dumbass by the time this movie ends. Because you're pretty much right all along, but the way they just like go, maybe you're not. Maybe you don't think you know what's going on. And I love it. I think this is just one of those. It's a great neo-noir. Superbly done.
Yeah. Wikipedia describes this as a neo-noir erotic thriller film. Okay.
Yeah. That's about right. And it's funny. It seems rather, I mean, I guess in the years that have gone by, it seems rather tame compared to, what we, I guess, now see. But back then it was just all the kind of like everybody's up in arms and so great film. And I love everything that Jan de Bont shoots. His style is instantly recognizable, and what a great DP he is. It's fantastic.
Troy said he would convert to Mormonism to be married to the three from Big Love or something. Now I don't know. I didn't watch that show. From what I heard, the Chloe Savina character was a little out there, though. Maybe not.
My wife watched it. She really liked it a lot. Yeah,
I didn't catch it. I should. I do like Bill Paxton, but I didn't catch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was my first time watching this last night. Do not ask why I've taken so long to watch it. We all have those movies, right? That sit on our shelves forever. I even bought it years ago with the intent to watch it. I got the unrated version, which apparently has all the stuff. I think it's most of the stuff that was included in the European version, except for I think there is a scene with the ice pick in the beginning, which was cut from the American version, where you see it a little more graphic in the violence, but it's mostly sex that they've added.
How could it be more graphic? I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
well, it's like we were talking about the Ed 209 sequence in RoboCop, right? How could that get more graphic? And it actually is more graphic.
Yeah, or the death of Murphy. Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I used to have a double DVD set of RoboCop, which came with both the theatrical and the unrated. But then I got it on Blu-ray, just the unrated. So I'm just gonna stick with the unrated. But yeah.
So are we going to start again after the Studio Canal logo?
Yeah, I'm set up for the Columbia thing. Black before the Columbia. That works.
Let me welcome the chat real fast. We got Melissa Harris. Thank you for coming. Age Boomer is here. That's good to know. Zootopia, Big Al, Troy Pacelli, and Sir Ian. How's life across the pond, Sir Ian?
Actually, I'm wondering. They got this movie over in England. I'm curious what the reaction was over there to Basic Instinct when it came out. Because I like watching Mark Kermode's reviews sometimes, and I notice he always if there's ever a British actor in an American movie, he always points him out. You know, the great Toby Jones is in this movie because I figure it's a British pride thing. Yeah.
All right, I'm just trying to skip ahead here.
How old? I'm thinking we were all about the same age when this film came out. I was in 11th grade.
I was in 10th. And I remember my French teacher seeing this film and coming in and telling us all about it, which is actually quite funny to a bunch of 10th graders.
9th grade for me. 9th grade.
Okay.
Yes. I do remember now. Yes. Yeah, this was like the big forbidden movie. There was this. There was the Madonna sex book, which one of the guys at the table bought and said it's not worth it. You know, like because you couldn't look at it before you bought it. It was sealed. That was another big thing back then. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when that came out. Yeah, it's like $100 or something like that.
It was not cheap from what I'd heard. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What else was the big scandalous stuff at the time?
I don't know. It was mostly Madonna.
What was this? 91, 92 when this came out?
92.
Yeah.
92.
Spring
Yeah.
92.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, yeah, this started a trend of these type of movies.
Oh, if it came out in spring 92, I would have been in 8th grade, actually. Okay. Never mind. I always saw it as something a freshman year of high school movie, but maybe that's just it had made the rounds by then and everybody had talked about it by the time I was a freshman. I kind of saw this, at least for watching it the first time. The movie I closest compared this to was a Brian De Palma movie I saw a couple years ago called Body Double, which, in my opinion, it was a way of updating like the Hitchcock suspense old Hollywood type of movie, but for the modern times, and that's sort of what I saw with this as well. You know, you're taking the setting for sure. You know, setting in San Francisco. Yeah, you know, Vertigo's all over this. Oh yeah,
even one of the last shots where Michael Douglas is coming up the stairs, and you can see right down. Like he's up on the 4th floor, and too bad it's a handheld shot, but it would have been. It would be neat to do the vertical effect, but it's amazing how kind of it pays tribute to Hitchcock, but it's also kind of like anti-Hitchcock. It's trying to create its own language and do things much differently than what they did back then, and really test the boundaries. And it's funny, you could sort of see also hints of what would become of Showgirls, because there are a few scenes where the acting is just so over the top and so mind-boggling horrible. Like, for instance, the whole club scene is ridiculous. Like, I don't know about that whole dance sequence thing, but I don't know how long that goes on for. But she was really angry dancing for a very, very long time. And that just reminded me of Showgirls. And then there's one particular scene, and it's funny. It's Sharon Stone's introduction. She's not very good in it. And I'm not sure whether it's the ADR, the inflection of her voice, the way she says certain words. I'm like, oh my God, she's terrible. But then in the rest of the movie, she just owns the role. But that one particular scene where they go meet her at her beach house.
Yeah.
She's not good at all.
I've got to say this. When I'm at my beach house, I'm kind of off as well. It's just.
You have a beach
house?
It's
the sea air. It just kind of messes with my brain. It's like.
I mean, don't y'all have the same problem? You swear differently. You swear differently. You say the F word in a weird way. And
don't you do the same at your beach house? I mean,
it's such an odd scene, and it just seems like, I don't know whether was tacked on, whether it was done later, or whether it was just not the right circumstances, because the rest of the time, Sharon Stone is so on, but Roxy's iffy. Roxy could have been in Showgirls.
It's funny. We were asking. I think we were mentioning which of the women would we want, and I was tempted to say Roxy, and then I said no. Because at first you see Roxy, I'm like, is that? No, that's not her. Okay, right. I was like, I did a double take. No, that's not, because I hadn't seen this before, and I realized, okay, but she's a similar kind of has a similar. Yeah, some similar features. One thing you brought up Vertigo. I noticed that Sharon Stone's hair, especially in the interrogation scene, that almost is a nod to Kim Novak in Vertigo. Absolutely. With the gray suit. I didn't just picking up on that now. Yeah,
but it's just that you get it. You see the homage, and you're like, oh, it's Vertigo, and then all of a sudden everything starts happening that you've never seen before, and she starts. Like I said, she owns this film. She is the ultimate manipulator, and I think she is so powerful in this movie. And I really do hope that she's proud of this role, even though, I mean, they did exploit her during the whole cross-legged scene. But I think that, I mean, it was a star-making role for her, but she was so damn good in it. So good. And just electrifying. You can't take your eyes off her anyway, but every time she's on screen, you just want her to be in the whole damn movie. Yeah. For me, at least. And then, you see her a couple of years later in Casino, and she's like, wow, she just elevates everything in that movie, too.
Oh, I love Casino. Yeah. There was a nice interview with her on this DVD that I did watch with her, and she gives her side of the whole controversial scene, but she still said she always wanted to work with Paul Verhoeven. She's a great director. He's a great director. She watched his, where's he from originally? Is it Poland?
Yep. He's Netherlands, isn't it?
Netherlands,
okay. Polish. Yeah.
But she watched those films first before he even came to Hollywood, and she'd always wanted to work with him. Yeah. And she thought it was a great part. And I think what she got angry about, she says that she wasn't informed of what was going on. She said they made her remove her underwear because of reflection, and it would reflect off the dress. It would be bad for the camera work or something, but that it wouldn't be seen. And I think she said that if she had known about it before she saw the screening, and if he had just asked her, she probably still would have gone along with it. Now, this is her story. I don't know. Okay.
Well, she would have to, because there's a scene afterwards where they're driving home, and they're talking about things they don't know about each other. And then she mentions, hey, well, now you know that I don't like to wear underwear.
Maybe it was the fact that it was alluded to that they'd see it, but that the audience wouldn't see it. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
I don't know. I think as an actor, you kind of have an idea of where the camera's situated. And I mean, unless they had multiple cameras rolling there, I mean, there's a close up, there's a wide shot, there's medium. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And on top of that, she's also, when she crosses her legs, they're very tight. But then as the interview goes on, she almost sits like a man does. So she's quite open up as well, right? Her leg is up.
The man spreading.
Yeah, but, well, not so much that she has a leg up. But it's more of like on a 90-degree angle rather than the way women normally sit with like a skirt on.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what is she? And I'm trying to figure out whether that's part of the play as well. But Yeah. It's I would think that I don't know. Maybe she knew it was going to happen. Maybe they thought, oh, we're going to cut it out. I'm not 100% sure, but it's still an interest. I mean,
I think
Wayne Knight's reaction is fantastic, and then his look over to Michael Douglas afterwards, and then he having to like step back and be all professional. But yeah, it was so great, so great.
That's a we'll get to that soon when we get to it.
Yeah.
But what was it? Yeah, Paul Verhoeven argued that he said, well, she was looking at the dailies. He thought she saw the scene. So from his point of view, he thought she knew what was seen and what wasn't. Yeah. And she would have come to him. So I think they both have their own side. I'm not trying to say one's right or the other. I'm just but anyway, they made their peace with it anyway. And she is glad she did the film. She said it was big, and she was surprised other actresses weren't signing up for the role. She was thought it was amazing when she saw. She said, this is like old Hollywood. Okay, this is something Lauren Bacall might have considered doing, or you know.
Yeah.
And actually, Michelle Pfeiffer, Gina Davis, Melanie Griffith, and Kim Basinger all turned the role down.
Wow,
Michelle. Why did Gina Davis? Oh no, never mind. I'm thinking of Gina Gershon. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, Gershon would have been fine.
Yeah, because I was thinking. Yeah, because never mind. Gina Davis, I understand. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Melanie Griffith.
I don't know about Melanie Griffith either.
No.
I think Michelle Pfeiffer would have been amazing. She would have been amazing.
I saw her in, I think it was called Into the Night with Jeff Goldblum. I don't know if you've ever caught that movie.
Mm-mm.
I had never heard of it till a couple years ago. And Jeff Goldblum, he plays this guy. He's an insomniac, and I guess she's sort of like the femme fatale and brings him along, and he goes on this. It's a weird movie. It made me realize, though, Jeff Goldblum, a really underutilized leading man in Hollywood, though, really should have been used more. But he's great in this movie, and it's great. And it's a young Michelle Pfeiffer, like one of her earliest roles. And it's an interesting movie. I would check it out if you got a chance. I think John Landis directed it, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I will have to check it out.
Cool. Daniel, you're off screen.
I'm just off center.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, he's in his. I said that's your '90s. That's your '90s club suit, right? Because that's
It's all about how you accessorize.
No, I like it. It works. I'm just.
I should have worn my sweater with the long V-neck. Like Michael Douglas in the club. That is just a weird outfit he's wearing there. He just seems. I mean, the thing is, he's absolutely too old for the part, but he's perfect actually in the film. But I mean, it's just weird seeing him in that. He looks like Grandpa in the club.
How old was he when this movie came out? Like, what was his age?
I would say I'm going to say late 40s, early 50s, maybe.
I'm thinking 40s too. I will say this though: even if you look at a lot of Hitchcock movies, you had the older leading man with the younger woman.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But it definitely was. Nobody's wearing underwear, right? Absolutely. Going commando.
All right. Well.
Oh, Troy. Okay, Troy. Thank you for coming by, Troy. As always, it's nice
he was 88.
8.
Funny. That's Kirk Douglas.
Oh,
actually, Kirk Douglas. He was in that wonderful comedy where he was the guy that got out of prison with I forget who was with him, and another famous leading man actor was with him, and I think they're like old. They're like old moth. I think they're like old criminals, but they get out into the modern '80s, and they're dealing with being out in the world again. And it was kind of a funny movie, but never mind. No one knows what that was called. Hold on.
I will say this about Michael Douglas though. This movie cost him his marriage.
Who's he married to?
Some hot girl who divorced him shortly after the film because it caused a big rift in their relationship due to all the sex scenes. Yeah. And then he hooked up with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
Interesting. I remember that was a problem with the movie Reanimator too for the actor, one of the actors in that too, I think. It caused his marriage.
In that movie?
There's a scene with a severed head maybe doing something to a woman, and okay, but we'll not get into that.
That's not my idea of sex, but look, each his own, I guess.
All I know is I think the wife didn't like it, okay, but it made sense. You know, I'm getting us off track. Okay, let's just get back.
All right, let's start the film.
Yes. When do you guys want? I guess you'll lead it, Daniel. Okay, we're gonna before the Columbia logo. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm pressing play. I don't know if I have a Columbia logo.
I have a Carolco logo.
I got the TriStar horsey.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, the TriStar horsey. Do you have that?
Nope.
Yes.
So tell me when you see the Carolco logo.
Okay.
Yeah, tell you, I'll do that too. Let me hit play. Hold on.
And that's Goldsmith as well.
Okay, here we go. Just started.
Okay.
The logo?
What just started?
Go.
Okay.
Go. All right, go. Yeah, I read online, so it must be true that Jerry Goldsmith had a hard time. He says this was one of the more difficult film scores to do.
Yeah, it was. He had the big problem was the main theme. He couldn't find it at all. And then there was a scene. I'm pretty sure I know what scene it is. There's a scene in the middle of this movie where Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone are just talking, and you can hear the main theme there. And I think that's where Verhoeven was like, "That's it. That's our theme."
Is there a definitive release of the soundtrack for this?
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
On Quartet Records. It's a 2 CD set, and it's fantastic.
And it's sold out.
Yeah.
And it's pricey now.
Mm-hmm. And has just a great under 30-second cue called "That's Real Music." And so the scene where you see Michael Douglas is passed out, and on TV there's a monster movie, and Goldsmith scored the monster movie.
That was actually a Hellraiser, right? I believe. It's one of the Hellraisers. That's what it looked like to me, because Troy did a rewatch of that back in October, and that looked familiar.
Yeah, I'm so against the Oscars now, but I mean the music branch did the right thing by nominating this score, and that's a kind of a ballsy thing to do for a film of this sort. But to realize just how important this score is to this film, and this main title just makes it all worth it. It's pitch perfect.
The nominations that year were Aladdin, Chaplin by John Barry, Howard's End by Richard Robbins, Basic Instinct, and A River Runs Through It by Mark Ishman. And the winner is
Aladdin.
Yeah.
I would have picked Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
Is it because of the songs or for the soundtrack?
Yeah, it's mostly
it got best original score and best original song.
I wouldn't have given it to Aladdin. I do like Aladdin. It's one of my favorite Disney of that period, but I wouldn't have given it best score over this. No.
Yeah, that's a time when Disney was Menken won about 795 Academy Awards in 5 years, and so they had to implement a new category just for musicals and comedy in '96, I think. Didn't last too long, but that was a way of, I guess, separating Disney from the rest of the group.
Like
but
every year, Alan Menken. It's like.
Yep. So I mean, this scene. I mean, I think it's obvious. It's Sharon Stone, and it is Sharon Stone in this scene. But that's where it's like, all right, we know who it is. We know who the killer is. No doubt in my mind, right? And you're thinking that the whole way through, but then all of a sudden there's these little drops and nuggets that will throw you off. And I think that's the brilliance of this movie, because you keep questioning yourself. And it's a reverse, right, from the whodunit. Because usually you're trying to figure it out, and then at the end it's like, oh, all right, that's exactly what it is. But I think for me, it's pretty obvious that, yeah, Sharon Stone's the killer.
Yeah, I mean, mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say wasn't going to be appropriate, but
now they do play with you a little bit though, because it's like you have her friend, similar look, right?
Right. Yeah.
You also, it gets revealed that the other woman has dyed her hair before too, so there's that.
Yeah, and those are those little nuggets of just trying to throw you off, and of course the ending before the last 5 minutes, you're like, oh my god, okay, maybe we were wrong, but then you're like, well, of course we were. I love the manipulation. I absolutely love the manipulation, but it's totally done in reverse than your typical whodunit. Because it's obvious right off the bat.
So it's almost like a Columbo episode then, right?
Yeah.
What about the Prometheus release?
It's fine.
It's 75 minutes long.
Yeah, it's fine. And if that's all you can get, then that's good as well. I think the original release is actually really well produced as well. So, but
like
the thing about
minutes,
the Prometheus and the Quartet's going to give you the alternate endings that Goldsmith scored. I think there's 3 of them, maybe, of the unending story. Maybe there's only 2. But there's a whole bunch of different versions of the way he scored it for, I think there's like the R-rated version of the take and the unrated version of the take, but yeah, I mean they're both fine. I mean, if you can't find the Quartet, go for Prometheus.
Now here we have the police. We're seeing all of our detectives that we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the movie, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of information just in this one single scene here, without it feeling it's like pandering to the audience.
Like the
they do a nice job of exposition in this film. So
yeah, they do.
Yes, actually, yeah. I'll say this. I'm even thinking about it now when I was watching it last night, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't. It's not forced because, of course, it's all part. It can all tie into the fact that he's investigating of course, she's investigating him, if you think about it too. So it's.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny. It doesn't feel like a Paul Verhoeven movie. And that's what I think is so great about it. And I don't think any of his regular players, any of them are in this film, right? It's guys who you normally see throughout the rest of his, I guess, Hollywood films. And that's what I think is so great about this movie.
I was expecting to see like Ronnie Cox in this as somebody, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Total Recall and RoboCop were all shot 185. So that was 16 by 9 frame. But I think this is his first Hollywood picture that's CinemaScope. And I mean,
yeah,
it's Beyond de Bont. Again, like I said, he's an amazing photographer. He's so good. The widescreen photography in this is fantastic.
Yeah, he says his and her Picasso. So
yeah.
Troy brings up a good point. There are some reasonable prices on the soundtrack on eBay. That's the original release of the soundtrack, which is about 40 minutes. There have been 2 versions of the expanded complete score. Those are the pricey ones.
Yeah.
So, and I read an interview with Jerry Goldsmith about this film score, and he made a comment about how, like film score collectors, they want everything and they want it complete. It's just like collecting bottle caps for them.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We want everything. We want it complete.
For sure.
Just do
collecting
it.
Bottle caps.
That's what he said.
Yeah. I don't think he was too fond of soundtrack fans in general, or he didn't understand them. You know, it's like, why do you need 3 different versions of the main theme? You've heard it once. I don't need to play it again, which is why he would organize his soundtracks the way he would, right? They were very short. He didn't understand why everybody wanted everything.
Everything.
Well, it's weird because I was reading an article because I was at the library yesterday and I was messing around with the databases and I was reading about Mozart's Requiem and about how there are 2 different orchestras doing 2 different takes of Mozart's Requiem, and it dawned on me no one was able to record Mozart when he conducted these symphonies, and I'm thinking, do we know what the true sound is supposed to sound like?
Right.
I guess really.
We can guess, but.
Well, so, I mean, it's much like in the soundtrack community where a lot of people feel like the original recording is the definitive version. And I totally disagree with that because you never know what type of changes were made on the soundstage, whether those changes were made to the score itself. So just because you're hearing things in the soundtrack or on the film, that might not be the way the composer originally wrote the cue. And so that's why I love re-recordings, because you get different interpretations of the score. And it just seems like soundtrack music, it might be the only genre where everybody is totally against hearing another version. I mean, in rock and roll, you got covers, classical music, you got 50 billion versions of Beethoven's Ninth, but in the soundtrack world, it's like the original is the definitive version. And, sometimes you got cuts, sometimes cues have to be taken slower, faster, and that might not be the way the composer originally intended it. And, I could bring up an example of Vertigo, where Bernard Herrmann wrote detailed notes on his score on the timings and how it should be. And the way that it was performed in the original soundtrack recording is not necessarily the way that Herrmann wrote it in his head and wanted to eventually be performed. And that's why I think Joel McNeely, when he re-recorded it back in, I think it was 95 with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, he read those notes on the actual score itself and conducted it to the way Herrmann wanted the music to be performed. And I think that version, at least for me, is the best version of Vertigo out there. Huh. So, yeah, I mean, as a soundtrack fan, I love alternate versions or alternate re-recordings, like whether there's an improvement in sound, or sometimes you might get a better performance, or something might be conducted a little faster, but that might add a little bit more energy to it. I mean, they don't always get it right. But I never understood why a lot of soundtrack fans are against hearing a new recording of a score.
Is this the infamous scene you were complaining about earlier?
Mm-hmm. Just listen to the way she says certain words.
It's like they're not coming out naturally. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, they're not.
Hello, Matthew Flynn. Thank you for joining us from Great Britain tonight. Yes, I'm outside because it is a wonderful late June day in Alabama. It feels like late September outside. So I'm taking advantage of it. And Sir Ian brings up that Juan DeBont photographed Die Hard and Lethal Weapon 3. He also did Black Rain by Ridley Scott, which is one of my favorite Ridley Scott films. Also a Michael Douglas film with a Hans Zimmer score.
Yeah, and even though he directed Twister, it still feels like he shot it as well. It looks like a Jan de Bont movie. Same with Speed. He just has this style. It's pretty recognizable.
Oh, hey, Melissa, your brother lives in Alabama. That's cool. What part? I'm in Huntsville. So.
There we go. Golden Gate Bridge, right?
You're like a little bit ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm driving. Yeah, there's the Golden Gate Bridge now.
Okay.
You're driving in the car.
And now we're cut into the cops. Into the
let me
police
pause
station.
it.
She's going into the door, Gardner's door now. Into the second door.
I'll pause it. I was got a late start. I think I got an earlier start than you. Hold on.
It's okay. It's all good.
Was this a Triple Horn's kind of first major role?
I think so.
She's really good in this. She's really good.
I give her credit. She looks completely different than Trammell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much more attractive.
No, I don't want to say much more. Different look. More the brunette, like the red lips.
Yeah.
Whereas
Brown
Trammell has that very symmetrical face. I'm trying to think. In fact, one thing I'd give credit, at least later on when Trammell starts speaking, is that her voice adds a lot, just the way she enunciates. I mean, that makes any sense. How she talks, very mature sound to her voice.
Yeah. she's got a command to the way that she speaks. She knows exactly what she's saying, how she's saying it, and why she's saying it.
Versus her, who is not as commanding. Let's be honest.
Right, but I mean, again, going back, having watched it again last night, and now you're trying to think of, what was her involvement? How was she involved in this at all? And now I'm like, what does she know? Because she's hiding stuff already here, right? So
part of me had wondered too. Like I was pretty certain that, just unfortunately because of that they made a Basic Instinct too. I figure she was probably the villain or something in this movie, right? But I thought maybe his shrink was in on it as well. Okay, and maybe she was the one that did the actual murder, and Trammell put her up to it. I just didn't know.
Right.
It's like
yeah, and that's the question. But from what I've read and what I understood, I mean, and it almost seems convoluted and really difficult to pull off. But it's there's a key part in this where Nick walks into her apartment and he says that she needs to change the lock. And so that's where I'm thinking that Trammell eventually went in there at one point and planted all the evidence against her. And that was just before the whole scene in the apartment where Gus meets his end. And you can also tell that it's Trammell that's doing that, because then again, when she's printing out her book, she's outlining in detail exactly what happens to Gus. And I didn't catch that until maybe 2 viewings ago. And I really paid attention again today to see what is being printed out on the screen. It's really tough to get. But there's also a strange scene where Nick then realizes Gus is in trouble. And I'm wondering, because there's a scene where the shot moves up the building, and then all of a sudden Nick realizes that Gus is in trouble. I'm like, what the hell is triggering that? And I didn't get it. And then, right?
Neither did I. It's like I'm wondering at that moment, oh, he picked up a clue I haven't picked up on yet.
Yeah, and I thought maybe they would flash back to the printout, which would have been great, but I don't know whether that was taken out, or it just seemed odd that all of a sudden it's like, Gus, and he freaks out. I'm like, what's going on? What did he see?
Like there's maybe it's just that he realized he was in a thriller and realized, his partner told him to stay behind while he goes does the investigation.
Yeah, there's only 10 minutes left in this movie. Oh my God, something bad's going to happen.
Because I figured one of two things is going to happen with the partner. He's either going to get mad and just abandon him, or if he hangs out with him, he's going to die. Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
So one of the stereotypes of a film noir is flashbacks or voiceovers. How do you think this film would have played with either of those?
I think it would be something along the lines of like the first cut of Blade Runner, where that just ruins everything. And I mean, Harrison Ford read all those lines like crap on purpose, but I don't think that if it does that, then it becomes a trope. And then I think it becomes obvious that that's what this film is taking after, where I think that you're just letting play straight, and then you're going to figure it out yourself without having to be pushed along or told. And you don't need to have those. I mean, the only time where it does feel like a classic noir, I think, and especially in the score, is right at the end, the last cue. There's a beautiful solo trumpet that's playing one of the themes of the score as Michael Douglas is driving up to his apartment. And it's the only time you really get that classic solo film noir trumpet. And it's the only time I really feel like that's what it's copying. But I'm glad it's its own thing for me.
Yeah, because now I'm wondering if we'd even get some lines of dialogue, like the whole line about the guy in the beginning saying he got off before he got off. That strikes me as something that would be in a voiceover. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Or, he'd be talking about, it's like, oh, I just quit smoking like 2 weeks ago, and the drinking, oh man, it really, you know what I mean? It would just feel strange. Whereas, like you said, the exposition is done really well in this without feeling like it's
right.
It's coming on too strong. It's really force feeding that information to you. And I like that you're picking up on clues like all the way through this whole movie. And that's what I like about it, and you don't really need to have that, like I said, spoon-fed to you. Now, this doctor here, he's the dude that gets punched out all the time in Groundhog Day, right?
Wait a minute. You're not thinking of Chris Elliott, right?
No, not Chris Elliott.
I have to rewatch Groundhog Day. I do.
Yeah, he's the one that kept saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
It might have been him. Yeah, I've seen him and stuff. It could be him. Yeah,
kind of that dopey voice, and yeah. I mean, there's other films where I do appreciate voiceover, and I just feel like then it feels, especially for maybe films that take place over a larger span of time.
Yeah, like Shawshank Redemption, I think.
Shawshank or like Scorsese movies. Like I think Casino, I think the narration adds so much to that film, even in Goodfellas as well. And I think that if you do it right, it can work. I just don't think that this film necessarily needed it.
Yeah. What they say, takes one to know one. Okay.
So do you not like the original cut of Blade Runner?
No.
Never did. I disliked that movie completely until then I finally saw whatever the first cut was without it, and I'm like, well, this is something else.
You and I are on the same page. I remember being a kid, and it's like Blade Runner on network TV for the first time. Oh, I never saw Blade Runner. It's got Harrison Ford. He was in Indiana Jones, and I turn it on, and then I hear the voiceover, and I'm not kidding you. I changed the channel right then and there. Yeah. And then my friend showed it to me finally, and I'm like, and then I watched the director's cut, the original, the not director's cut.
Right.
But that was much improved, and I like that a lot more. And then I think the final cut's my favorite version of that. And just
the open ending as well. I mean, I remember watching that happy ending when I was like, what is happening here? And I knew something was not right with it. And I was like, I never want to watch this again. I'm like, all right, well, let's see this alternate take. And then I was like, well, hello, this is something amazing. And the film is allowed to breathe. And you can just experience it the way that you should without having to have that awful narration in it. And you can just make up your mind. You could really make up your mind, right, as to what happened. It's up to you as an audience member to, is he an android or is he not? And I think that's the genius of those director's cuts.
Yeah. So now she's getting dressed. And I guess you are sort of being a voyeur here.
Saying that correctly. Totally. Yes.
It's like you're wanting to peek behind that corner, even though you're like, oh, I would never do that. Right.
Now, this scene reminds me of Seven. There's a lot of similarities with this and then the John Doe conversation they have in the back of the car in Seven.
It does remind me because you're talking basically to a criminal psychopath, right?
Yeah.
And how they would manipulate. Of course, you could also take it from the stance that she's a writer trying out the personality of a criminal psychopath to write the book better when we're dealing with the cop, right?
Yeah.
That's the cover, right? Okay, so yeah.
And I like how the manipulation starts right away, right? They just met, and now here's can I have a cigarette? Oh, I don't smoke. And then she brings out her own, and it's like, here we go.
Well, you think she must know that he's been stressed lately, and of course, what's a stress reliever? Smoking a cigarette, right? Okay, and of course, he recently was in on a case that was not good, or I guess where there was an accidental shooting of tourists, right? And it was, it's alluded.
Yeah, and it comes out later that she's been fed information earlier than this, though. Is that correct? Like she knows who Nick is at this point.
Yes, I think she even admits like she bought his file.
Right.
And I don't think the file was shared by his psychologist.
No, it was the other guy that, her.
But at first I'm thinking she's in on it because it's like, that seems odd. And I like how he kind of laughs it off, though. I don't know.
And the lighting in this movie, all the light coming through grates or the reflections or, the water reflecting off people's faces, sensational.
She talks about the lighting in the interview she does on the making of this. She said that the lighting was very important to me because you can come off looking, I forgot the word she was using, but really stupid or really like, she just said they did a good job with the lighting because certain scenes would have looked ridiculous without it. She said, like, I guess some of the sex scenes and other things would have looked completely ridiculous without the proper lighting. Yeah.
And what I find interesting is that, I mean, not too many directors or even cinematographers would do what they do in this scene, and the energy is all in the camera movements, and it's just rack focusing or just whip pans or dollies, and the camera is moving a lot in this scene, and it's creating an energy. It's not obnoxious. No, it's perfect.
Like
but it's
Michael
adding
Bay.
That energy. Yeah, right. Michael Bay doesn't know how to keep a camera still. But here they set it up very slowly. You know, there's this wide shot with everybody in the frame. Nothing's really moving. And then there's just this energy, this pace. The editing is brilliant.
So she's in control of the room.
Totally.
Totally. And I will say this. Back when I took Criminal Investigation 101, it said the suspect should never control the interrogation.
Right. And you would never have an interrogation room this big at all.
Yeah. And if she starts pulling out stuff about you that no one else should know, your ass is out of there.
That's right.
It's over.
And I'm sorry, this actor, I always think Newman from Seinfeld.
Yep. Yep.
I always think Jurassic World. I mean Jurassic Park.
Well, he plays a similar type of character.
Mm-hmm.
Except he's a mailman on Seinfeld, but it's.
Oh man, she's playing this so well.
No, I said I liked it when Johnny liked to use his hands. She's completely
in control, and it starts with the cigarette. Like this shot right here. Watch the zoom in right to her face. Love it. And this comes almost, I think, would be right out of Silence of the Lambs. She's talking almost directly to the lens.
Well,
look at the movement here. Watch this.
Yeah. Who do you think she is? O.J. Simpson? You know, she ain't gonna kill someone and then write a book about it.
Yeah, right. Funny. I mean, I'm almost thinking too, like we're in the interrogation room with them, and is it basically like we're in the audience? We're supposed to be in the interrogation room interrogating her as well. Is that supposed to be? I don't know, because that's sort of how I was feeling. Like, you know,
Troy's right. I'm looking at that. Yeah, he already knows that she's not wearing any underwear, so you don't necessarily need to see this scene right here, but that would mean that she knew that Nick was watching her get dressed. If this scene in the interrogation room doesn't happen with the legs crossing.
Now, Boomer, that's called a vagina. They don't all look like that, but
okay.
Just so you know, I mean, they all look different, but that's okay. Because that's the way God made them.
Sorry, I'm muting because I'm eating a late dinner. That's why. So you don't hear me. I'm almost done though. It's okay. But okay. Still get the pleasure. Oh man.
See, how'd you know he was married?
How'd you know he was married? Now, theoretically speaking, could she still be asking these questions and not know anything about him and be doing this to fish for information? That's another way I took it. Like she didn't know, but she's asking this question. Then the other officer, you know, oh yeah, he was. How'd you know he was married? And it's like you're giving her information he did not want you to give her necessarily, right?
Now look at her legs, the way she's crossed her legs here. Interesting.
I mean, I cross my legs like that in a kilt.
In a kilt?
Yeah.
Are you being interrogated in a kilt?
No, I've never been interrogated in a kilt.
But for her to do it.
Yeah, that's But I also wear Hanes, so
She made a point too of dressing for the occasion.
Yes.
Okay.
And this score is it's just telling you so much. It's making you feel so much. It's so fantastic. Just the perfect atmosphere. And the colors too. I love his use of electronics in this score on top of all the acoustic instrumentation.
How often do you find yourself going to this score to listen to it?
To be totally honest, not often, but when I do, it is rewarding. It's a very rewarding experience. And you just know that the composer's at the top of his game for something like this. And you're just listening to the details. And it's like, it's not, I mean, besides the two major action sequences and the kind of the big kill music or the finale music at the end, I mean, it's very subdued, but it's still telling you a lot. There's a lot that's going on in the orchestration, but this is where Jerry Goldsmith was extremely good at drama. Very good. And there's a lot of music in this movie. Tons.
There really is, yeah.
Yeah. And it's high in the mix
for there to be
too.
no action.
Yeah.
I've always heard this is one of Goldsmith's favorite scores. And I've always kind of struggled with it over the years. It's like I listen to it, I seldom get all the way through it. But this past week, I got to listen to the whole thing repeatedly just to get ready for this. I've got a little bit more appreciation for it, but it's still not something that I'll find myself going back to the well to get all the time.
Yeah,
it's not the Shadows, not the Russia House,
right?
But
I think it's rare for him at this point in his career to get a good movie like this because he got so many stinkers. I mean, it wouldn't be like what 96 would he finally get like LA Confidential and The Edge and have a lot of fun with Air Force One, but it was really tough for him to get. He was always playing second fiddle, I think, to like John Williams. Like, Congo could be his Jurassic Park and Dennis the Menace could be his Home Alone, but none of those movies are successful. First Night should have been, I mean, it was a hit. First Night was a hit, and it was a great score, but I mean, does anybody talk about that?
No. I was
yeah, but here he gets a movie that is one, great, two, extremely popular, and he, I think that he also challenged himself with Verhoeven as well, and Verhoeven challenged Goldsmith, and I think Verhoeven also challenged all of his composers. And yeah, he didn't really have to go over the top to make an effective scene or effective cue, although there's still a lot of complex music in here, and especially with the instrumentation and what he was trying to say. But I mean, I don't think you would ever hear a score like this in a film today. Like if this was made today, you would never, you couldn't get away with something like this.
That's a pity.
And it's like a mix of the classic noir with something more modern. It would be just dead on modern, and it wouldn't be I don't think it would be as good compositionally either. Depending on who wrote it, but there aren't too many people that can do what Jerry Goldsmith did, especially for this picture.
This is actually the fourth highest box office film of the year.
In 92?
Yep. Aladdin, Bodyguard, Home Alone 2, Basic Instinct, Lethal Weapon 3, Batman Returns, Few Good Men, Sister Act, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Wayne's World. Party all the time.
I'd always thought that Batman Returns was a kind of
only domestic.
Okay.
When you take the worldwide box office, it totally changes for that year.
Because I always figured that's why they kicked Burton off it.
Found interesting, 65% of the box office for this film is overseas, not domestic. Every other movie in the top 10, with the exception of, I think, The Bodyguard, over half of it was domestic. So this one played much better overseas than it did here in the States.
Absolutely. The European audiences they accept this type of film. This is nothing to them. This is what they normally see.
Yeah. In fact, when you think back to the old days of, I think Francois Truffaut, the great French New Wave director, he started out by, I think, helping penning a magazine where it was about having appreciation for all of these older Hollywood Hitchcock movies, the suspense movies, saying they're not fluff, they're actually really good. And I figured there probably is an audience for this style of suspense movie over there, but
the acting in this bar scene's a bit over the top.
It is. I just think that it showcases that Nick does have an anger issue. Triple Horn's a little over the top, but I think I like Nick's reaction because he was only going to take so much. But the thing is, he's still angry when he comes into this apartment, and what he does to Triple Horn. Again, she says, like, you were never like this before. He's on edge, and he's had his first drink in how long? First smoke in how long? He's wired here. By the way, you ever notice that everybody's always exercising across the way in the window? Every time we're in this apartment, people are always exercising or doing yoga or something like that. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They're always there. It doesn't matter whether it's the next day or a week later. Yeah.
I'm sure that was planned, right?
I guess
just accident across the street and drove.
Who really is paying attention during this scene, right? To what's happening in the window. But after about 4 or 5 viewings, you're finally like, okay, what the hell is happening here? But Triple Horn's really good here. I mean, for as exposed as she is, she's playing scared, and
she said she got bruises filming this scene.
I could totally see why. He's rough.
Now, this scene was cut down for the American version. I think it ends after he I think Foley undresses her, and then you don't see what happens next. That's in the unrated version and in the European cut. Okay.
Yeah, this is a tough scene.
In fact, I'm curious. At this point, are you on the point where they're both talking to each other after the fact? Okay.
It must be unrated.
Okay, you must have the unrated as well. Okay.
Because it's almost like he's biting her on the neck.
Yeah, because I think this scene was cut out. Do you have the unrated as well, Daniel?
Well, he's doing a Dracula impersonation.
Okay, no, never mind. Okay, you both have the unrated version. I think that's the default one they have out now. Okay, because I know for a while it was just the R-rated. It's interesting though. I do want to get my hands on the other version though, because it's got another commentary track in it I'd like to listen to. But
so are you on So you have theatrical with you right now?
Me, no, I'm on unrated. I'm on unrated version.
Right.
I thought you guys had the unrated version.
That's, no. And I didn't realize which version I had. Yeah, until I watched it yesterday, and I thought, you know what? Like the first scene where she stabs him through the face with the ice pick, I'm pretty sure that's the unrated.
Yes, you get to see it go into his eye. I think that it's a brief cut. I get probably why the MPAA didn't like that, but you know,
absolutely.
What? Sir Ian says, what? In the European version, there's a donkey and a parrot involved.
Funny.
That's
funny,
weird. Man. you crazy Europeans with your McDonald's that you can buy beer at. What's next? Cracker Barrel serving beer? Oh, wait.
I was going to say only in the version shown in Holland right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel does serve beer now, Daniel. They had to make up the cost from being locked down. That's what I think. Suddenly, Bob Evans has beer.
They were testing it before the lockdown. And
I'm sure that's what they said. Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's a family restaurant. The whole point of family restaurants is they don't have alcohol. But then they said we lost some money.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Cracker Barrel. I'll be here for an hour complaining about changes to the menu. Anyway, what do we think of the other detectives, though? I'm almost thinking they're there to have the light focused on Michael Douglas, you know, because some of them are downright schlubby. I'm just saying.
He's framed in the middle here, and he's the one really only facing the camera square on. But I like Gus. Whoever plays Gus, I think he's great.
I felt, but I knew I had a
George
suspicion.
Dezunda. He was in L.A. Law for a while. Not L.A. Law. Law and Order. First season. Second season.
You know what? I've never seen Basic Instinct 2. Troy asked if we're doing a double feature tonight. I have never seen Basic Instinct 2.
No, I remember Eben and Roper tore it apart when it came out. They were not pleased, and I know they were having even trouble casting the lead actor for it. Because I think nobody wanted to be in it. Okay, I mean the lead. I mean Sharon Stone was going to come back, but they had to pay her a lot of money, and just it's. I may watch it now that I've seen this just out of curiosity, but I'm not expecting to be anything close to this. It's
great action cue here. Sensational.
I mean, they made a Children of the Corn too. Okay,
right.
Have either of y'all seen Body Heat?
Yeah.
Is that any good?
So
yeah, it is.
John Barry did that score. I heard there's some comparisons to John Barry's score with this score. Would you agree?
John Barry's has a saxophone, and it's just I don't hear the similarities. Honestly, it's tough to do John Barry. Like I would say that Goldsmith's best John Barry score was Medicine Man.
Yeah.
Basil Polidorus also did a great John Barry impersonation for that Nick Nolte. It was a Nick Nolte movie. What was it called?
48 Hours? No.
I'm sure the chat knows. What the heck is that movie? That
Prince of Tides?
No, that was James Newton Howard. I'll look it up. It sounds just like John Barry. On the tip of my tongue. I think it was like the late 80s. It was called Farewell to the King, 1989.
Oh.
Yeah, listen to that one and you'll swear it's John Barry. I totally forgot about this subplot when I was watching it.
This is this whole thing where she's palling around with a woman, I think, who murdered her husband, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like her whole family, right?
It's a bizarre.
Doesn't everyone have a friend like that?
I didn't quite get this unless this is
Am I the only person? Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just weird.
Oh man. There was this horror movie I watched recently called The Invitation. It was like a newer horror movie, and it's basically this couple invite their friends up for like a dinner party, and it's almost like trying to indoctrinate them into this cult. And this one guy who's there, he's like, I got into a rage fight with my wife, and I killed her, and I went to prison, and I made amends for that. And it's like he just admitted that he murdered his wife in a horrible way, and it's like it's one of those awkward things. Oh, but he's part of our group now. It's like not.
I have a client, and this lady worked there. She doesn't work there anymore, which is probably a good thing. And I was talking to her one day, and she started showing me pictures on her phone of this guy. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And she's going on about love of her life and blah 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 blah.
Okay. And
then she's like, and then one day I emptied the magazine in him from the 45, and I'm like, oh, what? She's like, yeah, he was always abusive, and he tried to kill me one day, came at me with a knife, and I just emptied the magazine and I killed him. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to emptying trash cans. Holy crap.
You know what you should have said? You should have said, well, then he deserved to die. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's just not something you just casually mention to someone as they're emptying your trash can at work.
Oh, man. Was she from Texas? She could have just told the sheriff.
No.
Okay. He needed killing. Well,
Texas.
That's a good enough reason for me. I'm sorry. That's bizarre.
She was later let go for reasons.
For reasons?
Reasons.
Okay.
And then an electronic lock was installed at the office on all the doors.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
what you're looking at there, Michael Douglas? What you doing?
You found something they liked. Again. Oh, she turned the lights off. Better go home.
Just in silhouette. It's just. What am I doing here? I'm probably trespassing, aren't I?
Yeah.
I better just leave. I want to say this and make this could be a great comedy under other circumstances, but I think there were movies that spoofed this, right?
Probably.
I know of one at least. I think it was called Fatal Instinct. That's what it was called, like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct. It was supposed to be a parody of this. Yeah. I love this. Is this like the internet before the internet, basically?
Yeah.
Police database. So I think they were the first ones to get access to this sort of stuff. Yeah, but
there's no cursor.
He's using DOS. Oh,
he's using.
You know what I think was a missed opportunity here?
What?
Prequels. She killed her mommy and her daddy.
No.
She killed that college professor.
No.
Who else did she kill?
She
killed that boxer husband. No, I'm just saying, because Hollywood needs to do this, right, to make money.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it's a Netflix series. Just waiting to happen. We should all get together after the show and write a bunch of scripts. I'll send them off to Netflix. We'll each get $5 million out of this.
So who's playing the young Catherine?
That's a good question. Let me think. Modern star.
I don't know.
Let me see. Okay.
We can find someone. Well, who's that girl playing Catwoman now?
Catwoman?
Because Michelle Williams too old.
Yeah, I could have seen them casting Michelle Williams as like the younger version of her, because they cast her as Marilyn Monroe in that one movie. I don't know.
She might be too old. I'm trying to think. Who? Yeah, that's a good question.
Nowadays, I don't know.
Chat. Why don't we
Emma Stone, she's good in anything.
Emma, oh my God. Imagine Emma Stone.
Actually, Emma Stone could be in this type of role, though she's a different kind of because she was in that one with I forget the actor's name, but she was in kind of a old timey crime movie a little while back.
Is Scarlett Johansson too old?
Oh, she's like in her mid-30s now. She's probably the age of Catherine Tremell in this.
When would you would you do Catherine Tremell in college or
you have her in college?
Maybe late in college or out of college?
Direct her, you mean? Anyway, don't say director. Do what? Okay, Jack Daniels. Okay, she's offering him the booze.
There's a ton of product placements in this movie.
But you know what it is? It's all expensive product placement.
Yeah, there's a whole scene with like what Jack Daniels, Pizza Hut, the Coke Pepsi challenge. What the hell else is? Yeah, Jack is always. It's like forget not Scotch, not whiskey. It's like, you want some Jack Daniels? I don't know who says that. I'm just like, do you want a drink? Yes. Whiskey? Sure.
That's
Scotch?
true.
Sure.
She could just say, do you want a drink? And what do you have? And then she would say Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Instead of, do you want Jack Daniels? Right. I went to the Jack Daniels distillery years ago. You can go a little tour of it in Georgia, I think.
Up the road from me.
Yeah.
It's the one in Georgia or the one in Tennessee?
Maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was Tennessee. You're right. It was probably Tennessee. Yeah. You're right. No, it was Tennessee because we did a trip there.
Here's my question. She's so rich. Can she not afford ice cube trays?
She likes the jagged edges.
Can she not afford someone to just make the ice for her?
Wait, 92. I guess fridges haven't started producing ice cubes straight out of the refrigerator, right? Where you get your water now. But I mean, I just always thought it was odd that she had these giant blocks of ice that she had to hack up. She has
to stay and practice with the ice pick.
Yeah. Well,
so she can get ahead of the killer in her novel, not in real life. Okay. You got to be good with an ice pick. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they said her net worth was $110 million. So that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
It was a lot of money back then. I guess it still is now.
A little bit more than what I have in the bank right now. So,
yeah, of course. Yes. Is she a bottle blonde? I'm trying to figure that out because I don't think so either. It looks natural on her, but then I see the dark eyebrows. But I don't know.
I think she's a brunette.
Yeah,
naturally, much like Kate Capshaw is a brunette naturally.
Yes.
This is such a great scene for us, how close they come to each other, and they don't do anything.
Yeah,
it's.
Personal space.
Yeah.
You couldn't have, this movie couldn't have taken place in the last year, right?
No.
Do you think they would make this movie now?
No.
Well, they would have to make it as X-rated as possible without being pornographic, I think, if you wanted to get the same sort of shock value. But I don't think there's much that you can show audiences nowadays that would have the effect that Basic Instinct did back in 1992.
They would do this as a TV series, like a limited TV series, probably. They wouldn't.
That might be interesting.
Yeah.
See, now you're talking about do Basic Instinct as a television series, then you can tell the backstory. Maybe. I don't know. Would that work?
Give it time, they'll do it. I can already see the wheels churning. They're going to do a series. Don't make it 5 seasons like Bates Motel. And there was a lot of things I liked about Bates Motel, but I think it kind of fell apart in the last season. But
yeah, it should be like 8 to 10 episodes, and that's about it. Much like Queen's Gambit. Now, holy smokes! Now there's an actor that could play Catherine.
What is her name? She's fascinating. Actually, yeah, her eyes are wonderful.
Yes.
The one from Queen's Gambit. She was in The Witch.
Yeah.
She was in. I think she was in that one with the guy with the split personalities. Split. Yeah, she was in that.
Yeah.
I could see her in this. Of course, I might see her as the psychiatrist. I would see her in that role actually more than Catherine Trammell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would cast her definitely.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy. She's yeah, I could probably. You're right, but she might fit she fits the look. I mean, she still has a very old-fashioned type of look to her.
Yeah,
and you're right. It's about her eyes. Yeah, she's amazing.
So I do like her. In fact, I was kind of shocked she didn't get cast in any of the DC or Marvel properties, but maybe she's better off. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. He's. This is what I want to see. Men getting angry at each other. Okay.
Have you? I just love the fact that he pulled a gun out on him.
Mitch Pileggi, who we know from what was that?
Oh, yeah.
He was in the X-Files.
He was in the X-Files. He was also in that Wes Craven movie, the Shocker. Yeah, he was in Shocker.
He plays a white supremacist in Sons of Anarchy.
He does,
and he's great.
He was funny later on. He married a Latina woman, and he says, "I'm trying to get off that. I'm doing the whole Jesus thing." Remember that?
Yes. And then he disappeared.
Well, you know what? He was probably better off disappearing because everyone on that show has bad ends. It seems. I haven't even watched Mayans yet. I'm terrified because of how Sons of Anarchy was because. That show got really nasty toward the end, and I'm terrified what Mayans would be like.
I haven't felt the need to go and watch the Mayans.
Yeah. I need to do that. I need to do Better Call Saul at some point because I did watch Breaking Bad.
You will binge that. It is as good as Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Okay,
it's fantastic.
Okay,
so and it has no reason to be that good.
Did Melissa Harris just spoil Bates Motel for me, saying that Norman got killed at the end?
She did. She did.
Okay, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
No. In fact, I don't want to keep changing subjects, but I actually liked the big screen Psycho sequels 2 and 3. I thought they were actually decent for what they were.
2 is interesting.
Yeah, 2 is interesting. And even 3. I mean, I'll put it to this way: they're like low rent Hitchcock, but they're still low rent Hitchcock. If you didn't catch my meaning,
why is it Bart Simpson?
He was so big in '93.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of curious why.
So big.
I'm just noticing that now. Bart Simpson don't have a cowman.
It's such a weird prop.
She is kind of cray-cray in this.
Yeah, she says she'll say it here. She's never done that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see her appeal as well. They're both different. I almost want to say femme fatales, but I don't know if that's the proper term. I don't for what's good.
Yeah.
Not exactly. I wonder if that term's overused too much though, so I don't want to throw it around. But I care about you. I did it for you. And now I'm wondering, is she telling the truth? In her mind, is she doing the right thing? And he's just go away. Okay.
Right.
Now she's getting an almost pouty look, like a ashamed child walking away. It's very weird, this whole.
So that music are you hearing right now? It's Goldsmith.
Yeah, this is, I believe, from. I think they said in the credits, they said Hellraiser. I kept thinking it was Hellraiser 2, though. This is Hellraiser 2. I'm sorry. This is when she actually goes to the other side. Okay, the hellscape. But yeah, those movies have pretty good scores. Actually, the Hellraiser.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, even Randy Miller. I get the right name. The third one. Hellraiser 3 is superb.
Yeah, I like Hellraiser 3, even as a movie. I know it's not, some people decry, but I thought, it's good enough.
Yeah, the score, that's how you write a score. Perfect homage to what Christopher Young did in the first two, and then just expand on it brilliantly. This is a great cue too. It's like,
can I see your gun? Yeah, all right. Why, you think I did it?
yeah.
I mean, that would be the easiest weapon to trace in the entire world.
Yeah, do you think I'd be that dumb to shoot him with my...
I like how he smells it too. He's like, come on.
I know everything. I got the minority opinion here. Oh man, everything. Like, is this the real world or is this noir world we're in right now? It's like, I don't know.
I would have loved it if he did the cross leg thing here. He does the smoking thing. I would just love it if he just. It would have been funny. I know, but it's too.
It would have been funny. Yeah.
It would have been funny, but I just like the smoking thing, where he quotes her.
Were you drinking? Here she goes. He was sober and lucid. Weren't you like attacking him?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. No smoking on government property. Come on. That includes electric cigarettes.
Yeah.
God, I hate those things.
Yeah, well, includes in the parking lot as well. Anyway, no, sorry, I'm acting like an official right now. Okay. Now, this is interesting. We were talking about control of the room before with Catherine Trammell. Who's in control right now? What's going on here?
Yeah. He doesn't look like he is.
Yeah.
Everything. She almost would be, because she just basically stopped that whole conversation dead with what she said.
Forgot that one actor is Colonel Oates from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I just noticed that now.
But look at her face here. Look how kind of proud she is.
Least I could do, considering I got you into the mess with those reports. See, everything about this. This is when I start suspecting her. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I wasn't already. I mean, this is. And there's another key scene later on when I think she gets in her car, right? Look at her face, okay? It's like I hardly knew her. She gave me the creeps. Okay, so we've already established that she knew her, okay?
But she's only giving out as much information as she's willing to give.
They're very on again, off again.
Yeah, like what's her end goal here? Like, see, there's a change in.
She smiles, goes right away as soon as he goes inside.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
And then who's telling the truth later on? Was she obsessed with Catherine, or was Catherine obsessed with her?
I don't know. Right? I love all the cops in this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like I keep thinking there's procedures and they're just ignoring the procedures. It's like, oh, I can't tell you're on leave. You're a liability. Oh, here you go. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a very good police procedural movie. It's
No. Well, it's funny you mentioned LA Confidential. I'm thinking the cops in that now. You know,
right?
It's like,
right.
It's, go somewhere, sit in the sun.
This is the first film to extensively use CGI for eyebrow replacements.
What? CGI for eyebrow replacements. Did someone shave their eyebrow off and they had to put that in?
For who?
I think he's being funny.
That's what I'm thinking. It's
okay.
Like,
yeah.
Are everyone's eyebrows perfectly plucked in this movie?
I don't know. It's not something I really pay attention to, except for maybe on Sharon Stone because it's.
You see her eyebrows a lot. Yeah, the eyes.
And they're very dark.
Everyone's hair in this movie is perfect.
Oh yeah, like her hair to go get interrogated. You know how long that would take, but she just like bloop bloop. I'm ready to go.
His hair, he looks fine. It's just everyone.
So you have a drink. And I think this is the scene in his apartment here where Goldsmith's original cue then became the inspiration for the main theme. I could be wrong, but I can remember reading something along those lines that somewhere halfway through the score, it was like, there's the idea. There's the... I'm not sure if it is this scene.
I'm surprised there's never been a movie about a man, someone trying to make a score to a movie. Okay, at least like the Jerry Goldsmith story. You know,
I think the only one that would be really interesting would be, well, you know, Max Steiner or Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah,
they both have incredible stories, and Steiner's is insane. If you read Stephen Smith's book, it's nuts.
Huh. What's it called? The book called again?
What is it called? It's
I can look up the author. Was Max Steiner, you said?
Yeah, and it's Stephen Smith is the author. He's done various documentaries. It is called Epic Life of Hollywood's Most Influential Composer.
Life. Thank you.
And then he also wrote the Bernard Herrmann bio as well, which is fantastic.
There we go. Music by Max Steiner. Okay. He bought the ice pick for $1.65. Well, I'm sure Catherine Chamel's ice pick was a bit more money.
Her ice pick changes. She has a kind of like an all silver one at the end of the movie where she's using.
That's for the vampires.
Which Nick seems to be.
My friends come with that.
Yeah, and this is the cue, definitely the cue that inspired the main theme, main title. I love this. You have any Coke? Well, the drink or the.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then I have a Pepsi in the fridge. I was like, what? That's so good.
Not the same thing. They're right. If you've had a Jack and Pepsi, it's not the same. It's you go with what you
playing
what
with
you
him
need.
that line, and I love it. And I love his return. It's so good. Very clever.
Say, what do you want?
What do you want from me, Catherine? Then of course he changes it back.
Yeah.
The banter between them, it's wonderful. It's I want to read these books. I'm wondering. I don't know. Just sometimes they would do book tie-ins for things. I know for Gone Girl, they give you if you get the Blu-ray, you get one of the children's books that's supposed to be based on the woman in that movie. Remember, her parents used to write books about her. They give you one of them in the Blu-ray set.
Have either one of y'all been to San Francisco?
Nope. I'd love to.
Boomer? Where'd Boomer go?
I think he's eating. Or no, he's gone. There he is.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm
Okay.
connected to the bad internet connection. Maybe I should switch out, but I'll see if it happens again if I'll switch out then.
Here's your vertigo shot you're talking about.
And your Pizza Hut shot.
Yeah, I was a little bummed when you told me that because I wasn't paying enough attention when he brings in the pizza, and then I'm like, "Oh, it's Pizza Hut,
It's
really?
Pizza Hut, really? Yeah."
You live in San Francisco; they don't have like some local, I don't know. Well, I don't know. San Francisco known for pizza. I don't know. Just of course, Pizza Hut was better back then. I'll say that.
Yeah. Here we go. The most 90s thing ever.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Wesley Snipes from New Jack City in here. It's like.
But I will say this: the second dance cue that they do use in this, I think, was used in the trailer, and it's incredibly effective. Again, very 90s, but it's a perfect piece of music. But the dancing here is hilarious, especially Roxy. She's cooked up and ready to go.
I have a story from college. There was this girl I had a huge crush on. Her name was Katie. I'm not going to say her last name because I don't want to dox anybody.
Okay.
And she was like a very, very active volcano.
Oh.
Just like always with guys and just like a volcano that's very active. We'll just say that.
Okay.
And I went to a dance one night. It was an international students dance, and she wasn't international. She was from like northern Indiana, but she was dancing with this Russian exchange student girl. And Katie was wearing this gold dress with like no straps, and she was very well blessed. And everything was like trying to pop out. And the Russian student was wearing like a lot of like goth makeup and long hair. And she was wearing this tight red dress, and they were like, on each other.
Whoa.
I was like, I gotta go home. Like, this is scary. I was not prepared for college.
Yeah, it's all right. It
was kind of like this, only in real life for me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's past my pay grade.
You could have ended up in a nice tub with a sign saying, "Call the doctor. You have one of your kidneys that was removed." You know, it's like,
Yeah, I could have. But
oh, she's got a gold dress. Except it's got straps. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
Roxy. You know, Roxy
sucks in this scene.
It's
the Elizabeth Berkley kind of like.
It is. That's what I was thinking. Actually,
this is totally Showgirls. You know, a few years before it actually happened. But this dancing's ridiculous.
She's not even. I'm not even looking at you. I want to look at Catherine. She's my one and only.
But she's angry dancing with this other guy, and she's like always trying to get a view.
You know what it is? Catherine Trammell, especially in this part, she has that Greek goddess look to her. You know?
Oh yeah,
yeah, with the hair the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
Look at this dancing. What is happening? That's all you need to learn. That's all you need to know about this move.
Next time at a club, I'll do the wicking the head back and forth. And
what the hell are you doing? I'm doing the Roxy.
I'm doing the Roxy. Funny. Don't you know what that is? Oh no, I'll try it.
Oh, you're right. What is up with that lighting rig back there? What is going on? What is happening? That's the first time I ever noticed that, Ian.
That's an odd club. Okay, well now we can't focus on the club anymore. But I was thinking that's a very. So
this is probably the scene
too.
that got Michael Douglas divorced.
Okay,
I would say so. There's quite a bit happening here.
And Paul Verhoeven wanted to show Michael Douglas's erect PP, but that was nixed.
That was nixed. Okay. Amanda Siegfried. There you go. Young Catherine Trammell, maybe. Maybe not.
Well,
actually, no, probably. She was in this movie with Kevin Bacon recently. I think Kevin Bacon played her husband, even though he's much older, and she was on a movie set, and he's like, "Oh, they're doing the love scene right now. You can wait here." And he's like, he had this awkward look on his face. It was just not. It wasn't a great movie. It was one of those in smaller budgeted horror movies, but I thought it was funny. Okay. Yeah, this is the part they say they cut.
I would, yeah. There's no way this makes it in America. But it's so well shot. And so well scored, too. I mean, Goldsmith's just playing up the danger. He's playing with you every time with these cues.
Now we're kind of almost getting a flashback to the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah. Like this whole mirror. I mean, that's how the film opens, right? The shot of the mirror.
Yep.
And there's a whole control thing here too, right?
Yeah. How old was Sharon Stone when she did this movie?
I'm gonna say in her mid-30s.
Okay, that makes sense.
She's been around quite a while.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nail it down. So she's filmed in 91. Born 33.
Okay.
How old?
She was 33.
33.
Yeah. But see, this is another one of those scenes where you're like, of course she's the killer. Of course. it's so obvious. Then you're like, well, what's the point of this movie? And then they just screw with you. The sense of danger in the queue. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking,
I don't know who else could have scored it like this. I can't think of anybody at that time that would have done it like this. And it's those waves, right? It's like the waves of passion, but it's also supposed to represent, I think, the waves that Catherine experiences outside of her beach house.
but no stabby.
No, she still needs him.
I'm thinking you played another way. Oh, she tries stabbing him, but he stops her, and then she disappears. And then he's like, "She tried stabbing. Oh, I was with Roxy all night. She's my, I mean,
Yeah,
that would have been probably a bad way to go."
and that look, you don't really realize what she's looking at until he goes to the bathroom. Like you're thinking she's thinking of something, right? Like, why didn't she kill him or blah, blah, blah. And then you realize the whole reason of who she was looking at off screen there. Although, it's weird. It's very Hollywood. It's very, cinematic too. It's just like when people just show up out of the blue. And it happens a couple other times where you would think that as you walk into a room, you'd be able to see people, but they just show up. Like there's a part in the lobby of his apartment where he's checking the mail or something. And then, Sharon Stone's just standing there. And it's like, well, you obviously would have seen her if you walked in.
Yeah.
Right. And check out the boots that Roxy's wearing. There's no way she could whisper her way into this room.
Well, maybe he was so distracted and we didn't hear her because the soundtrack was blaring.
I don't know. She'd have to run in. She'd have to run in, by the way. I mean, he only took a tiny sip of water.
Maybe she had to get there before Sharon Stone, just wait there quietly, like in the room.
Slid in. She slid in like Tom Cruise.
There's like a mirrored closet where she sits behind and she can see through it and just, I don't know.
It's a secret chamber.
Yeah, like
Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
If I had a house this large, it would have secret chambers in it.
Yeah. But look at those boots, man. Oh well, no heels, so she probably wouldn't have made much noise, but
Roxy strikes me as high maintenance. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Okay.
If your name is Roxy, you're high maintenance just by birth.
And in some point, when he sees her again, or wasn't that bathroom? Didn't he call her Rocky?
I think so, accident? Which I thought was funny.
Because he calls her Roxy later on. But I swore I heard him say Rocky, and I'm like,
he might have done that in the beginning. And Rocky is like Roxy, and she gets mad or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
This is weird. The abrupt wake up, and I kept thinking, is there a deleted scene where he has some nightmare where like he's making love to Catherine Tremell, and then it ends up being his therapist friend instead, and then and he wakes up.
Maybe
no, there are no missing scenes on the DVD. I looked, so I was kind of curious. But to be fair, that'd be the tacky thing to do, would just show that stupid dream sequence that I'm wake up in the thing.
Yeah.
Why does she have a fire going in the morning?
Because it's cold.
I guess.
That's a relationship killer right there. You try to talk to the new girl you're with, and she says that, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah, especially when you're thinking back to the 90s, the whole STD fear, especially what was going on back then. I think that's interesting. I don't know. I keep thinking, how would this movie have played like in the 60s? It probably would be a different vibe, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
the 70s.
70s, you might have been able to do this.
70s might have been even worse, actually.
Yeah. If it was more of like a real kind of independent production, because this is a huge Hollywood film, and
yeah,
I'm shocked they got away with what they did. But
I'm curious, isn't this the famous thing? Joe Esterhaus wrote the screenplay, right?
Yeah.
And he sold it for $1 million. Is that true? I don't know. I'd always heard that this was the screenplay. I don't know.
Probably. But it's too bad that it got, well, no, actually, no, that's not true, because the controversy helps sell tickets. But it just seems like that's all most people think about with this movie, that it is just some sort of, erotic thriller, and it is way more than that. And it is a smart piece of cinema. And I just wish it would get the credit that it deserves instead of being, labeled what it is.
No, yeah. I mean, well, listen, if people will be watching this 50 years from now when the Paper Chase is a memory. No, I'm sorry. I always pick on the Paper Chase because it was this big deal movie that doesn't seem to get a re-release at all, but do we like the country western bar?
It's such an odd scene, isn't it?
It's completely out of the blue. It doesn't seem like it belongs in this movie. I'll be honest with you. I
never considered Gus as like this cowboy until this part, and he actually calls himself that, right? But I never.
Maybe Gus missed his calling. He should have been a sheriff out somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe this is. He should not be in the big city. He should be run for sheriff somewhere. I don't think he likes it out here. You think I'm getting any? Sure, I can get laid by blue-haired women. I don't like them. Don't knock it till you've tried it. That's funny.
Yeah.
What is he eating here? Chili?
I want to think so.
Because he came from the country western bar. Yeah. And that you are being very discourteous to the other people in the diner. I'm just. He's got the cow tie and everything. I'm thinking this is what Gus does on the weekends at the secret life nobody knows about.
Right. Yeah.
He's line dancing other times of the night. It's just give me that Tabasco sauce. Sorry, you're hearing the dialogue.
The whole tongue thing, man.
What's Gus's home life, right? Is he married or is he because he's single? I don't know.
I think he was out. I think he was out looking for something tonight,
and it didn't work out for him.
And he found Nick.
He's a good friend that's there for Nick.
Yes,
and that's what's important, and that's what will get him killed. Because I knew that was going to happen. I had a bad. I knew as soon as Gus, I'm going to go up by myself. You're dead. You are so dead. I knew that as soon as, and I'm like, and then I almost feel like Michael Doug. Oh, wait a minute. In this scenario in the movie, he's the help wanted waitress. Okay. Keep wondering if that diner's been there. That's a trolley diner, right? And that could have been there from the 20s, right? I mean, who knows? It's like
under a bridge.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a real gold plate Seiko watch. You know what? That's not so bad. Okay. Why are you driving?
Yeah. I thought something was going to happen here.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die here, actually.
But little did I know that Roxy was going to go crazy at this point.
Well, something's going to happen here.
Oh, I think she went crazy a while back.
Yeah.
Well, at first, I wonder who's in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even suspect Roxy at first. I thought it could have been his therapist friend. I that's what I was expecting, actually. I don't know who to trust in this movie.
Right. And I
Ron
think that's-
Greenspan? Who's Ron Greenspan? It's like,
Ooh, we should look that up.
like, did she steal the car from somebody else? Is that? Oh.
Well, that's That's
I-
Catherine's car,
I
right?
think
that's
the
right, yeah.
dealer.
Yeah.
Oh, the dealer. Okay, never mind then. Okay,
Does that mean anything?
I don't know. It has to mean something because I know Verhoeven wouldn't have stuck it in there if it didn't, right? I mean, he's not someone to look over a detail like that. I'm just.
And here's
Here
one
we
of the
get-
few action cues of the film.
It's awesome.
I think a car chase in San Francisco is the worst place in the world to have a car chase.
Can you believe this car goes up the stairs?
I know you're going to die. Okay. In the Dirty Harry movie Magnum Force, you get a car chase in San Francisco
Yeah.
too. In fact, it's one of the just.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you can't beat Bullet. But I mean, here I'm seeing a car going up the stairs. Although you know what, the chase in The Rock is actually pretty good.
That's right. I do. I watched that to sell it because I never saw The Rock before. And when Sean Connery passed, I said I need to watch the Sean Connery movie. I've never seen. Oh, The Rock. I've never seen The Rock. I'll watch that.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I kept thinking too, but people yell at me and says, "Is that supposed to be the Sean Connery James Bond if he got sent away to prison?"
maybe.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought.
And directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah. And it's probably one of Bay's best movies, I think.
Yeah,
It's coherent.
Yeah.
I like Nick Cage in anything. In fact, I want to see that Pig movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
What is this Pig movie?
You know what? I'll do a clip video of it, Daniel. Okay, it's a.
Okay.
We're watching a fancy chase scene here. I'm not going to talk about.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Ron
don't see how
Greenspan is a dealer out of San Francisco that supplied the cars used in the film.
Oh, product placement.
Yeah. The ultimate product placement.
Okay, so.
Wow. And
Who's
the
in the
crash. And the
car?
crash was the Black Lotus in the movie was actually mistakenly driven into the hole rather than the mule. I don't know what that means. The car landed on its roof and incredibly did not collapse, and the driver was able to open the door and get out. Wow.
I would not want to flip a Lotus over like that ever.
No, man, that's a pancake already.
That's yeah. There's no room to play in one of those cars.
Well, you see the way Sharon Stone gets it the first time, right? It's almost like she has to get right down on the ground to get in the car.
Yeah, I have a Miata. I have a Gen 2 Miata.
Oh yeah.
And I got in a Lotus one time, and I'm like, damn, my Miata feels like my Sequoia now. That's how small a Lotus is. It's. I mean, the Miata is low to the ground, but the Lotus is like on the ground. It's ridiculous.
Wow, they're not being nice to him, are they?
No. Oh, are those the lights from the club?
Yeah.
Love those lens flares. Yeah, the anamorphic lens is, when you do it right, it looks great.
Now I have a question though. If Roxy watches Catherine every time she does it, did she see the murder?
Yeah, good point. She would have to.
Maybe that's part of like the twist.
No, she would not have, because that was his house.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're right. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. No, but you're right. I was thinking the same thing too, but yeah.
Oh, that one with the glasses is so hideous. Those glasses. Oh, I'm thinking.
I was just hoping she'd move him down her nose a little bit and look over top of him. It's like Jean Triplehorn for the win.
Jean Triplehorn.
She was born a winner.
Yeah. And I mean, they made her as ugly as possible in Waterworld.
What?
Remember when they cut her and the little girl's hair, and then just tried? I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, if you mess with hair, yeah. Hair's important.
I mean, she still looked good, but I mean, it's like, man, for the half of that movie, she has the worst hairdo ever. because she gets her hair all chopped off by
It'll grow back.
Mariner.
It'll grow back. It's okay.
It'll go back.
One thing I want to point out, though, it is fascinating seeing Michael Douglas in this, since a lot of the older noirs would have Kirk Douglas in them, at least some of them. I think, what was that one? Petrified Forest? No, he wasn't in that. Out of the Past. Yeah, Kirk Douglas is in Out of the Past. So it's kind of neat seeing Michael Douglas sort of like his dad in some ways, and seeing him in kind of a modern take on an old Hollywood movie. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if it wasn't Michael Douglas, like who could you get that was believable without being distracting?
Not Harrison Ford.
Not Harrison Ford.
I don't think Harrison Ford, though he was in that one, the Frantic movie, which was sort of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I wish Harrison Ford did more like Frantic or like Mosquito Coast. Well, I think he's fantastic in Mosquito Coast. Roles like that would be kind of against who he was, but he was getting back into action movies around this time with Patriot Games.
I know Sylvester Stallone.
Hey, they did The Specialist.
I like Stallone. Yeah, he was in The Specialist with Sharon Stone. You're right.
That's
I saw that in the theater actually back in the day.
What about Andy Garcia?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He sort of has a similar look to Michael Douglas. Richard Gere.
I mean, I don't like Richard Gere.
Probably.
Warren Beatty. Maybe Warren Beatty.
Maybe a bit too old and a bit too well known. I think that would have been a distraction.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Especially if you see him in I want to say Pacific Heights, but I could be wrong.
He was in Pacific Heights.
Was he? He played like when he plays stuff like that.
He played the naughty guy.
Yeah.
But
was Michael Douglas the first choice? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to look it up and see if there was any. Because I mean, for the women, I couldn't imagine Julia Roberts in the role. That would just been weird. And Meg Ryan. But
what? What'd you say?
Sir Ian says Danny DeVito.
No, but I was thinking Ray Liotta maybe.
As Gus.
As Gus, maybe. Yeah, maybe Ray Liotta in Michael Douglas' part. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
At that time, maybe, because he just gotten off of Goodfellas, right? So I'm trying to think who else. For the women, though, at this time, I don't know.
Like, I mean, we did talk about. I think Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer would have been interesting. One. She would have been interesting in this part.
Yeah. She would have been great. And that, I mean, in this scene, is this really the only scene where Catherine's vulnerable?
Mm-hmm.
Is she though? Is she
only? Then she's like, all right, you got to make love to me, right? And then she's back to her normal self here. But I mean, I think her reaction to Roxy is genuine.
I do too. I think she actually is upset. Yeah. I think, even though Roxy is just,
I just can't stop seeing her dance. That's it. I got to create a GIF of that and use it as my avatar.
Alternative take of the movie. Michael Douglas ends up with the Roxy character.
Wow, that's explosive.
Wow.
All right, I'm trying to think.
Are we doing Showgirls next week?
Oh my God, could we?
No, we're not. We are doing Star Trek 2. We can do Showgirls.
Oh, Star Trek 2. We can do let's do Showgirls like in July. I'd be up for that one. That is hilarious. It is so funny.
I've never seen Showgirls.
Oh man.
I've never seen it though. I have the Blu-ray. That was one that Richard Roper always defended as a home video release. He says, maybe you don't go to
go see it with a bunch of people. It is hysterical.
I think that's what he said. Have your friends over and watch Showgirls and have a party time with it. Yeah,
it is so bad. It is good. Like that's one of those so bad it's good movies, and it's up there like at the top 3 of just you just don't know whether they did all of that on purpose. You have no idea whether it was like we're getting Elizabeth Berkley and she's going to be terrible, and it's just I don't know. I don't know, but it is very, very unintentionally funny. Much like The Happening, Shyamalan's Happening, which is hysterically funny too.
I've avoided seeing that one, but
because the thing is, it starts off so good. There are some genuinely creepy, like terrifying visuals at the beginning, and then it just gets so dumb. I mean, beyond dumb. It's really, really bad. You can't believe that they actually filmed scenes where they asked the actor to do a certain thing, and Mark Wahlberg doesn't help. I mean, I think he's solid when he's, in good movies, but there's a couple of hilarious scenes in this. And Zooey Deschanel does not blink, I think, once in the movie. It's such a strange film. Because you don't, I mean, I watched that the same night I watched Grown Ups, the Adam Sandler movie. So my wife and I watched this on like New Year's Eve, and we vowed from then on that we were just gonna watch really horrible, bad movies on New Year's Eve from now on, because that was a hilarious 2-for. Because Grown Ups was so boring and it wasn't funny, but it was really bad. But then we saw The Happening and we were just on the floor because it's ridiculous. Watch it. It's ridiculous.
Have you seen Nicolas Cage Wicker Man remake movie?
Yeah, and that's
okay.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, it would be in the same ballpark.
One of the worst movies I've seen in a while. Yeah, but
and the thing is, but then once you understand who Nicolas Cage is, you're like, I totally understand why he's in that. He's a method actor, and that's the sort of stuff that he does, right?
I love his performance in it. It's brilliant, but because it's almost. It's almost like a parody of the original. It's
right. But I think they honestly think that everything they're doing, they're taking it uber serious. Like this is, and it's yeah. It's but Showgirls is just in a league of its own. Of like, you cannot believe. I mean, I guess you can. Like I can understand Verhoeven doing something like that, but I think if you had the right actors and you tone down some of it just a bit. I mean, I can understand him over sexualizing everything in that movie because that's just basically who Verhoeven is, but it's so horrible. It's Elizabeth Berkley's just trying way too hard. Too hard. Gina Gershon, was Gina Gershon, is that
Gina Gershon's in it? Yes.
Yeah.
She's pretty good.
Darling.
Yeah, Darling. Yeah, she's pretty good in it, I think. And there's a couple of others that are okay, but it's Elizabeth Berkley's your focus, and she's Roxy, but like times 1,000. Like Roxy on the dance floor times 1,000, and it's she's just trying too hard. So. You should check it out and we should watch it.
Yeah, definitely
together because it's funny. It's very funny, very funny.
Who did the film score for Showgirls?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
That's the thing. It has to be a notable score.
It was none of his regulars.
I would argue though, if it has a good soundtrack, we might be able to get away with. We've never done a soundtrack-based movie before on the show. Not that that's what Showgirls is, but
well, you know what? If you get a chance. I highly recommend watching a movie called Grand Piano.
Okay.
About a pianist who it's his first concert in like 5 years, and he's got, I think, the ultimate stage fright or whatever because he screwed something up, screwed up a piece, whatever. He's coming back for his return concert, and just before he starts, there's a note on one of his music pages that says, you better play this perfectly or else your family dies. And the thing is, the concert piece that was written by Victor Reyes is actually the score itself too. So what he's playing plays towards the drama that's happening within the movie. It is phenomenal.
I do like the sound of that. I almost think, who sent him the letter? Hannibal Lecter? It's like
I think it's Elijah Wood plays the pianist, and then not Ethan Hawke. Is it Ethan Hawke that's the bad guy?
Grand Piano. I haven't seen it, but I'll look for it. That sounds interesting.
Check it out. It's pretty interesting. But the score is amazing. Oh, I mean, absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's a separate concert work, but it's playing to the drama as well. The piece was written for the movie. John Cusack is the bad guy, right?
Oh, interesting.
It's a brisky 90 minutes long, and it's pretty solid.
I'd like to see. I've never seen John Cusack as the villain. I'd actually be curious about that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. It was a stage fright. He's playing this place called La Cinquette, which is actually a crazy difficult piece for piano. And Victor Reyes wrote it that way. And yeah, I don't want to ruin any of it. You got to watch it.
Sure, I'll check it out. I'll look for it.
But if there's like one score where the music is probably the most important aspect of the film, that would be it. Yeah, and yeah, I'm kind of curious as to who, I forgot who wrote the score to Showgirls, but I mean that came
David A. Stewart.
David, who never heard of it. But again, the score really doesn't play a major. I mean, I guess it fits with the vibe, but I mean, he's coming off Starship Troopers, and he got Basil to write an incredible score for that, and that again is another totally misunderstood movie in itself. And then that was it for his Hollywood career after Showgirls, right? No, wait. So when did? Yeah, am I right in the chronological aspect of this, or did he do? Verhoeven do
Starship Troopers came after Showgirls, I believe. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
and that was kind of the cap. I think because
yeah,
I haven't seen him since. You know that you know Disney's Dinosaur. The CGI movie?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a Verhoeven project. Did you know that?
What?
Yes. No, I'm pretty certain I heard this. Paul Verhoeven's idea was you would do a great realistic CGI dinosaur movie, and you basically seeing the dinosaurs in their natural habitat, attacking each other, mating, doing all sorts of things, and you would just go around looking at the dinosaurs do different things for like 90 minutes, and then the I guess the asteroid would hit the Earth, and then the big destruction would happen, or that would happen during the movie. Do you understand?
Oh,
it would be the whole thing,
Wow.
and that was his idea for the movie, and I think somehow that became that Disney dinosaur movie where you have the lemur saying, "I'm the love monkey," and the talking dinosaurs, and how are the carnivorous dinosaurs are the villains, and it's just I don't like that movie. Okay, and to think that it was supposed to be a Verhoeven project makes me depressed. Okay?
So that I keep forgetting about Hollow Man. I totally keep forgetting about that.
Did he direct that?
Goldsmith score?
He directed that, and it has a great Goldsmith score.
Oh,
but that was it, because then he went on to do Black Book and L, or is it Ellie?
Mm-hmm.
But he's really, I don't know. I just wish he would. I wish he would have done more.
He's still big. He's real big in his own country.
Yeah,
he's got the top films for his own country like ever made.
I don't know why we bring these directors over here and then we don't use them. Like I think John Woo, that happened with John Woo. We brought him over here and then he,
right. They're just not allowed to do what they're. I mean, why would I don't understand why you would bring a director like that over if you're not going to allow him to do what he does best.
I don't get it.
And then you just cap these directors and not allow them to be expressive the way they were when they were in their native country making movies. And I think that Flesh and Blood feels more like something Verhoeven would have done back in his home. There's a lot of really uncomfortable subject matter in that movie. I think RoboCop is also pure Verhoeven.
Yes.
And I think even I don't think there's much influence on, let's say, Total Recall and even Basic Instinct. I'm sure he wanted to push it more with Basic Instinct, but I don't know what he was trying to prove with Showgirls, and I just don't know whether it's the casting that killed him, because I think there's an interesting story there. I think there's a very interesting story there.
But didn't he seek out Elizabeth Berkley? Wasn't that like a thing?
Yeah, maybe. And
that was
such an odd person to expose that way. I mean, she's that clean cut person from Saved by the Bell, and then you kind of bring her out in her first major role to just be naked for 80% of the movie and expose her like that. But then again, the film has been some sort. I mean, yeah, it's been a cult classic, but you don't care about that. It's like, so what does it do to his career? But then he does Starship Troopers, which I thought would have been great, and nobody understood that movie.
No,
and I think Hollow Man is more of a straight genre film, so maybe he was done after that and had enough.
Well, apparently Tarantino's leaving now too. So
yeah,
I mean, that's a big rumor. He's at least talked about. He says he may not be doing any more movies. He's actually is writing. He wrote it. He wrote a novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because he says we don't get movie novelizations like we used to. So he's going to write his own novelizations on his own movies, which I'm kind of curious to read. Actually, he says they're even going to be released in mass market paperback. The one that's coming out, for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We kind of glossed over this, but the older woman she was talking to, the one that murdered her family, she's like, "Hey, shooter," and
yeah.
I almost wanted Michael Douglas to say, "I will drop kick you across the lawn. Get away from me, okay?" What kind of conversations do they have, Catherine Trammell and the older lady? Like, oh, I need someone to talk to about all the men I've murdered, or all the people I've murdered in my life. I need a confidant. It's like, I don't know.
We all need someone who understands, right?
But if I'm getting if I'm going by the show Hannibal, you find that serial killers don't really like each other. Okay,
True.
Right. Yeah. They would rather work alone. Or they don't hang out and
it's a little complicated. Like, I think Hannibal on that show would still help out the serial killer versus the FBI, but they're not
only
necessarily
if
getting
it served
along.
his purpose, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, Joe Esterhaus, he got $2 million to write the script for Showgirls.
Oh, maybe that's the one he got the money for.
And picked up $1.7 million when the studio produced it.
Whew. That's a good payday. That's the good old days of Hollywood.
And he wrote Sliver as well. That movie that came out a year after this with Sharon Stone, another erotic thriller, Sliver.
I remembered because everybody was excited for that one because this had just come out.
Wow.
Was it not as good, though?
Slivers, no. It was really tampered with. The ending was changed. I forgot the reason why, but went through production hell, and even Howard Shore, who wrote the original score, parts of his score was tossed at the last second for Christopher. Was it Christopher Young? I think it's a Christopher Young replacement, especially for the ending. But even that was all tampered with. It was a mess of a production.
This is a little distracting. This guy is cleaning his police car, and I'm wondering, how did they get that dirty? We don't know. And I'm wondering if this is messing with the audience. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, this is such an odd scene and location. But then again, I mean, you're what, about 15 minutes out from. So here's the scene. I missed this a whole bunch of times. This is outlining Gus's death on the printer here. So if you read it, but it doesn't show it like clear enough.
Really interesting.
Up the staircase, his partner's dead body, elevator, legs sticking out, but it doesn't stay on scene long enough. And I thought that would be something that would come back, as a vision.
Hold the phone though. If he's reading the ending and he sees Gus go up there, is he? Oh man, never mind.
So,
now I'm just
right. So again, obviously, Catherine's the killer, right? But then, so,
what's the old? Sorry, I'm thinking back to Married with Children when Val Bundy says, "Love is not only blind; it's stupid too." It's.
But I don't think he's putting two and two together here.
She just laid out in the novel how your partner dies. That's why I thought now it would make sense why he runs up there. But why does he then let her off the hook? None of this.
Because
Oh,
now, I mean, he's
it's a coincidence.
he's confused now. Well, yeah. But yeah, it's such as maybe it doesn't register. He just reads it, but I mean, she's like, I'm done with you, right? So now his mind is on something else.
So he
Because
forgets
she's
about
just
it.
maybe until that point when he's in the car. And this is so weird too. The old woman just pops out of the middle of nowhere.
She looks like a cat. She's just the way I don't know. Just
Yeah.
Why is she here?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is this like a red herring? Like we're supposed
But
to.
then again, yeah, she could have read the story as well now, right? So the old woman now knows. Maybe the old woman is in on this, and you know,
told Gene Triplehorn and
maybe they're special friends.
Yeah,
well, you never know. This is the Gus scene. I'm going to my death scene. I'm freaking out when he's in the car talking wildly and they're driving, and I'm just thinking, I got a bad feeling, and I didn't know why I had one at this point, because I'm like, he looks like a Gus. I'm not saying that to be mean. Actually, I'll say this: the Gus on Breaking Bad didn't look like a Gus. Okay, I can't think that was the point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but this guy looks like a Gus. It's Gus Fring. Of course, I imagine. Oh, his name was short. I was short for Gustavo, though. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Like that sounds more menacing, Gustavo. Gus, just no. It's like,
especially the way he says it, right?
Yes,
Gustavo.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but this is so odd. I'm trying to think. He looks up the building, and I guess it's just then it all of a sudden triggers something, and he runs off. It's so strange.
Well, Verhoeven plays because I see the car running right toward Gus. I'm thinking he's going to get hit by that, and the killer's going to be in the car. No, it's like no, that's not what happens. So he goes up the elevator. Okay.
But
what does
like
that
the
mean?
Suspense here, where like every floor the door opens, you don't know what's going to happen.
But why is every door opening? Did she hit the buttons on each one of them and before going up?
Yeah.
Was the old lady with her? Maybe the old lady was planning this out with her. I don't know.
See? You never know.
What if she decided to kill Gus because she didn't want to kill Michael Douglas?
And here's the thing
I got to kill somebody, but I don't want to kill Michael Douglas.
But this is part of the story, right? But here, how did she get a hold of the San Francisco PD poncho?
Oh, you can buy one on eBay.
Because it was her size exactly, right? That's what they said.
They didn't have eBay back then, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
she would have had to have gotten it. Maybe when she was being interrogated, she slipped out with one. I don't know. It's like,
or unless it was stolen from her apartment, and just before, like Catherine staged the apartment. I don't know. Man, this is brutal.
Boom, boom, boom.
And does he try to say Catherine's name here?
I don't know. I was trying to see. He's going to tell who did this to you, Gus. Tell me so I can put them away.
Yeah.
It's like he's gurgling blood right now. I can't even make out what he's saying. It's like it's. Takes the gun.
Why is she going into her pocket?
I don't know. When you don't go into your pocket when someone has a gun pointed at you.
Right.
Thank
you. Look at her face.
Thank you.
Look at her face.
She falls like Peter Griffin. the weird leg.
Okay. Where does he hit her? On the heart? I mean, I don't know. It's like
Well, it's
she's
the right side of her chest, so I don't know. Maybe she.
I
Has
don't know.
longer
What did he
section.
hit? That's what I'm thinking. Because the first
Pierced
time it
the
was the
lung.
shoulder.
Yeah. But here's what I'm trying to figure. Why is it Bart Simpson? It's so funny.
They don't
Damn
explain it either.
Yeah.
It's
Damn it,
like
boy.
it's Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Is he dressed as a police officer?
No,
I don't
he's
know.
just
The Bart Simpson thing on the keychain. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a stupid a gift he bought for her, like a joke gag gift, and she's held on to it because she loves him. And I don't know. Like it was a secret Santa at the job, and he pulled her name and he got her the Bart Simpson keychain because I heard you like the Simpsons. Oh yeah, she never watched it. I'm creating this whole backstory behind the keychain. What was she doing here? What was Gus? I don't know what people were doing here. I know it's bad blonde woman that did all this. Okay, except Michael Douglas because he's what's the expression? Thinking with the wrong head. That's I don't know. Thinking with his heart. There we go. I'll be kind. All right.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, do you think that Catherine should be getting off scot-free with him at this point? I don't know.
I just don't. I just don't see the people exercising. They're always there. It's like the 20-minute workout. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. This lets her off the hook in his mind.
He wants to believe. Maybe that's also what I.
And he says he was in love with her. And I think he was over Triple Horn because he figured that she was crazy. That she was the crazy one. And then all of this becomes reality to him. I love this look in the picture here. Sharon Stone.
Dr. Elizabeth Garner. I'm taking one look at all the police officers. I'm just police detective inspectors. It's. So no more line dancing for Gus.
No.
He was going to get up the courage to go
all
out there
the
line
dancers
dance.
have been shot. Roxy, Gus.
Yes. Roxy.
Well,
is the actress who played Roxy in Showgirls is one of the Showgirls, maybe?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
She? I will have to
check. One who hates Elizabeth Berkley. I'm the star.
When is Showgirls going down?
What?
When is Showgirls going down?
I don't know. When would you like to do it?
I'm good after in July, mid-July.
All right, you want to do like second week of July, maybe, Daniel? We could do that.
I'm trying to look at a calendar.
So this piece of music right here, very film noir, but with those modern rhythms.
With the trumpet?
Yeah, the trumpet. It's just classic Goldsmith in Chinatown, City Hall, and then eventually LA Confidential mode. It's very Leonard Bernstein. Sorry.
I love LA Confidential.
Yeah, if you listen to On the Waterfront, it's probably one of the most influential scores on Goldsmith's kind of film noir sound.
Here she is.
Yeah, and here just very kind of plain looking, simple, muted colors, simple hair, right? She again playing very vulnerable, right? Having to care about him, whether that's all bullcrap.
She's acting.
Right.
I don't know.
Or she's like, I cannot believe this all worked out. I mean, the only time she was like this was with Roxy, right? So that's why I don't know. Is she playing him?
Yep.
I don't know.
And was she playing him both times?
Yep.
And this is just this whole cue is ridiculously good.
I guess that's her signature move.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, messing with me again.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
according to the internet, if you get shot with a 9mm in the shoulder, as long as it does not hit any major arteries or destroy any bone, which could lead to other damage, you should be okay.
Okay, well,
people in the chat kept talking about getting shot in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Ray's Rugrats.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ian about the OST version versus the film version. The film version of this cue almost seems a little too over the top. It's still good, but I do like the version that's on the original first soundtrack from Brass.
Wait a minute. When he says forget the Rugrats, then she doesn't reach for the ice pick. Is that what I'm supposed to get from this? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I hate kids.
Yeah.
But why would you kill him after you've been cleared of everything?
Right. But it's a need, right? She's done it before, and it concludes the story, I guess. But yeah, that's a different ice pick.
Does Basic Instinct 2 clear it up as to whether or not Michael
Douglas he's dead in the second one.
Yeah. That's such a good movie. I could pick that one up anytime, honestly. That's
July 14th. Showgirls.
Let's see.
You tell me.
What is on my schedule? July 14th. I don't have anything on the go that day. I'm filming the next day, so I should be all right.
Is that going to mess with your filming schedule?
No, I'm up just up early, and that's fine.
All right.
So Showgirls.
I don't think Showgirls is a long movie, is it? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Are there multiple?
We're going to watch the 4-hour version, right?
Is there like
I have no idea. I'm just being funny.
Different version. No. Yeah, it's also great to watch that one on network television when it came out. I think I'm not sure whether you and I
that's
we
funny.
discussed it, where they had to digitally put on bikinis or black bras that looked so awful. So anytime that's because there's no way they could show it on network television at all, and you
then don't show it.
You couldn't cut out the nudity because there's exposition scenes where everybody's just naked, so they're all wearing digital bras, and it's really, really bad.
I will say on the DVD, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I mentioned to Daniel, they had the automatic they have the dialogue replacement for network television for this movie, and they play all the scenes where they're replacing the dialogue with
no way.
It is so horrendously bad that you could tell it's not the same actors,
right?
And it's instead of it's like she says, "Oh, I had sex with him." And it's not her voice either. It's not Sharon Stone's voice.
That's and like the bad ADR for Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2 for network television. It's funny.
Lord, that's horrible.
It is funny that guy's trying his best to sound like Bruce Willis, and he doesn't come anywhere close. Bad. I mean, the Yippee-Ki Mr. Falcon, of course, is very, very funny, but everything else is just so terrible. Terribly out of place. Because usually, because back then they would ADR the network television stuff as well at the same session.
Yeah.
But not for Die Hard 2.
No, not for this either, apparently. I kept thinking this is a joke, right? And I'm thinking, no, it's not. They got different actors, and they don't sound like the actors on the screen, so it's like someone else's voice comes out, and it's like the whole tone changes. It's like that Simpsons episode where Homer has to overdub the thing for Lisa's birthday, and it's his voice comes out of the characters. It's just not right. And even shit from Shinola they had to censor. You don't know shit from Shinola. I think it's you don't know stuff from Shinola. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm really upset that Goldsmith didn't win the Oscar for this one. I mean, but
Aladdin.
Aladdin. It's not one of. I mean, Beauty and the Beast. I would say yes. I don't think he should have won for Little Mermaid, and I think that him winning for Hunchback for score, definitely. He could win all the song ones for all I care, but Aladdin isn't great. And again, I think everybody was voting just basically on the song choice. They couldn't separate the two, but I would have been happy. Like if the Academy had any balls, they would have voted for this one. And then a few years later, they would have picked either Mulan or Mulan should have won another one. That or Prince of Egypt. Those two were fantastic scores in 98. Yeah, Goldsmith should have more than one.
It's weird. Years ago, they had an article came out where they had interviewed Oscar voters, and some of the horrendous things they were saying, like, what are you voting for special effects? I don't really pay attention to effects that much in movies. I'm like, it's an award for the best special effects. Pick the movie that had the best special effects, and don't say for the animated category, oh, the kids liked Big Hero 6. That's why I'm picking that one over the Studio Ghibli pick. And I'm thinking, I don't care if your kids liked it. What's the best of the animated movies? That's what you vote for, okay?
And that's the excuse me, and that's the problem with the Academy Awards I'm going to guess, but I'm pretty sure that they only care about major awards.
Yeah.
And then I have read those anonymous articles that came out years ago where they were talking about Oscar voters and how they think and how they're going about selecting the films for their ballot. And there's points where the guy's like, you know what, I never liked such and such in this movie, so I'm not voting for them, even though they were great in it. I will never vote for blah blah blah, and then they vote for one of their friends. Or you're right, I've never seen the special effects category, so I remember watching Transformers, so they'll pick Transformers. It's just terrible.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think Interstellar was up that year for effects. I'm like, I liked Interstellar's effects because when I saw Interstellar in theaters, it felt like I was in space. Okay, that's why I would have gone with those effects for that. Or you could choose something else too if you want, but just don't say effects. I don't really care about effects. It matters. Okay,
it does, but they don't. I think most of them don't know what like the difference. That's why they combined the sound categories this past year. They don't know the difference between sound editing and what's the other one? Sound design. They don't understand that, and they are two different disciplines. And many think that just because something wins best picture means you should automatically win, or even in nominations. Like how does a picture get best picture but not get a best director? Well, you have different guilds or boards that are picking these. So they, whoever votes for best picture, which probably might be the entire, it's just producers, right? They're picking different films compared to the directors and compared to the actors, and that's how it works. The boards are all picking their own. That's why the music branch picks who they pick, although I find that they've been way off after in the past I don't know how many years as well. They used to have some guts in their selections and actually pick scores that really meant something. Now it's just a popularity contest, and that's the problem with the secondary categories. It's a popularity contest. It's whatever's the most popular flavor of the month, and they'll pick that. It's like, hey, I don't remember the music from whatever, but you know what? I've seen that movie, and I like
Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love. Well,
just
and that whole thing is a Weinstein con job, and
English Patient was a Weinstein con job.
Yeah, anyway, and so it's the amount of money that they were able to filter into the advertisement of it, and Shakespeare in Love was the big one that they basically bought those awards. There's a great video, and I'm not sure whether we talked about it before, but it's a YouTube channel called Be Kind Rewind. And
interesting. I'm thinking of the movie when I hear that title, but anyway,
I think it's Be Kind Rewind, and she did an incredible video essay on Weinstein and how Gwyneth Paltrow won her Academy Award that year.
Really?
I'm going to see if I can try to find it. Well, I'll give you the channel is incredible. And let's see if I can. I'll put it in our chat. That's the channel. And then the video, it's like she's really good. These videos are really outstanding, very well researched. Very well produced. But when did she do the where is the Gwyneth Paltrow one? Because it was fascinating. And it's mostly geared towards women in film. So it comes from that angle. But it's very good. Oh, here we go. Harvey Weinstein and the Oscars. And there's the link in the chat. Watch that one.
Cool.
Yeah, and she does her homework. But other videos are like, let's explore the year 1955 and how such and such won an Oscar. But they go back and talk about the history of each actress in that category and why they might have won. But then they talk about how the person who did win and how that came about. So
cool.
Yeah, fascinating channel. Really, really good. You'd get lost in that YouTube rabbit hole.
I'll check it out
Quickly.
There was a YouTube channel I liked where it was like television series that didn't quite make it and didn't quite all like television like one. It wasn't even like television series. Like one was like an offshoot of like there was a third Addams Family movie, but it was made straight for video. So the guy reviewed that.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's a great one that's called Not Quite a Cult Classic or something like that.
Not quite a cult classic.
Yeah, they're just on the cusp of being, like those films that you would remember, but hey, I remember that, but it's not really that great. Not quite a cult classic. It's a really interesting channel, and I don't know what the name of the channel is. I think I might have them in my subscriptions, but anyway, but they'll do stuff like Summer Rental, like where John Candy's The Great Outdoors is probably the cult classic, but you don't remember Summer Rental. which is actually not bad. Or like, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is the great movie, and this other John Candy one really isn't, but it's not terrible.
What was Summer Rental about? Was that the one that came out the same year as the Great Outdoors, and nobody went to see it?
Oh, maybe it was. It was about his family, and then they show up at the cottage, and there's already like 30 people in there partying or something. He has to kick them all out, and it's just his. Yeah, I remember seeing it once, but I wish I can remember the name of the channel. But anyway, if I ever find it, I'll let you know.
Cool.
Eric, can you post the link in the chat?
The comments.
Yeah.
Would have to go into YouTube and do that.
I think so.
Did you post the? Oh, I don't know if I have subscriptions. Why aren't you on here? You have this posted on Facebook though, right? The link to this show.
Oh no, Zootopia was one of the links that you're showing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get. I can't get into the comments here on.
Maybe I can post them. Hold on.
StreamYard, but I think I have to go through YouTube in order to do that.
I can post them. Hold on. Let me see if I can get to YouTube. I'm trying to think what else. Swimming with Sharks any good?
Sorry?
The movie Swimming with Sharks. I went to trailers on the Basic Instinct DVD, and now it's showing. They're making a big deal out of Swimming with Sharks with Kevin Spacey, and I don't know. I never heard of it either, but apparently this was a big Lionsgate release, I guess, early on. I don't know. All right.
I don't remember. I can't find your YouTube link.
I got a YouTube. I posted. You're going to have to do a cut and paste on the YouTube link because apparently Daniel has not given me a wrench.
Well, say something in the comments, and I'll give you a wrench right now.
I posted in the comments. Yes.
Oh wait, I have to get out. Okay.
You can do an okay on me getting the wrench. Okay, and let me find the other link he posted. Just doing cut and paste, you'll find them. All right.
Yeah, if anybody. Oh, there you go. Sarah was great. Had the great. Yeah. Oh, Sylvester did the score. Wow. If anybody, if anybody can't find the link, the channel's called Be Kind Rewind.
All right.
And then the video is called Harvey Weinstein and the Oscars: How Gwyneth and Shakespeare in Love Won. So if you do the search for those parameters, you should be able to find it. If
I posted the links in there. They can do a cut and paste as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great. I love that channel. It's really good.
It's weird. They're showing all these trailers for movies I haven't seen. I thought they were going to show me a trailer for Basic Instinct or Basic Instinct Part 2. Which was, instead, now I'm seeing something with the guy that played Chris Evans and who played Bella in Twilight movies. Kristen Stewart. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's some weird and Diane Lane.
Yeah, she's attractive.
I'm trying to think, and
I think Troy just
Donald Sutherland's in it too. This is a weird movie. Okay. It's about rich people up to bad things, it looks like. Okay. See, that's the thing. Here we're out of modern movies. There's probably a bunch of movies you haven't seen. Okay.
Oh, there's all kinds of movies you'll never see. There's just too many movies to see all of them.
Oh. Keep thinking, Daniel, at some point we got to do a Taxi Driver rewatch. That's going to have to happen.
Wow. Yeah.
That is a good score. You don't want to see that? You don't like
No,
not there right now. It could be whenever,
Herman's last score, wasn't it?
Yep. It was. They're good last movie to go out on, though. I'll say that if you have to pick.
Yeah, he died the night after conducting his last session.
Yeah.
That's a creepy movie.
Arthur Fiedler died after conducting a show at the Boston Pops. He went off stage and died. That's probably like the way to go, I guess, if you're a big time composer conductor.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell got done with the show and hung himself. That's not such of a good story, but
yeah, that's a terrible story. That's awful. That was a great loss, man.
I never realized how big he was until he died, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow, he has done a lot.
Yeah, I grew up listening to him.
Yeah,
I mean, because it was that whole grunge era was. I mean, that was a wonderful discovery for rock and roll, and following him through that, and his solo career, and then Audio Slave, and then it's amazing that he got a Bond song. I think that was one of the most daring choices ever for a Bond tune. But he was so perfect for it, and David Arnold's a genius. I mean, he should be on every Bond film and writing all the songs. He's just so good, and he understood why Chris Cornell needed to be the voice for You Know My Name. And it was when I heard that, I was how is this going to work? But Cornell's an incredible talent with an incredible voice, and he was absolutely the perfect choice for that.
That's the best Daniel Craig Bond song, I think.
Oh, yeah, easily. I absolutely. It's like nothing you've heard in a Bond picture. I mean, the thing is, some of the best ones have been the David Arnold composed songs. The collaboration he did with Garbage. The Katie Lang one is still my favorite Bond song of all time, and that getting regulated to the end credits for Tomorrow Never Dies is ridiculous. It was it's so sad because that song, that's the
song that's in the score for the entire movie.
Exactly. And there's a great video on YouTube where someone has taken Katie Lang's song and put it over top the main credits, and it's spectacular. It's absolutely spectacular. But she wasn't a big enough name, and that's too bad. Because I think that, that's my favorite Bond song of all time. That is absolutely. No question.
I like Man with the Golden Gun title.
Yeah. Classic.
Shirley Bassey, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what's fascinating about the Basic Instinct DVD menu? It's just Sharon Stone sitting in the chair, her legs crossed, going back and forth.
Were their legs crossed?
They're crossed like they were in the movie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's like they're weird. The weird cross. Where
yeah.
It's like a spider. It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm turning this off. It's starting to freak me out. Okay. I kept thinking she's like a Venus flytrap. You're drawn to her, but you're going to get eaten. Okay. Yeah.
That is a very good analogy.
And I'm thinking Venus, and then it was actually in this movie. I'm thinking Venus flytrap named after the goddess Venus. There you go. And that's why everyone's okay. That makes sense now. Okay. I knew I probably knew that, but now I fully understood. Okay, that's why, because the insects are drawn to it, and then it's
yeah.
Okay.
So this you had your first viewing last night. I mean, I talked it up a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what's your overall opinion on it? Does it hold up today?
Well, here's the thing. I saw it for the first time. I'm more generous to older movies because I tend to. I don't want to say I want to chide things that come out now, but I think it definitely holds up today. I think it's a very risky movie, one that probably wouldn't get made today in the current Hollywood studio system, because I think a lot of them are kind of chicken shits right now. But I think it holds up today. And I don't know why it took me so long to watch this. It's not because I didn't want to watch it. It's just because I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Because I bought it years ago to watch. I just never did. And I guess it was one of those forbidden movies when I was growing up. You can't go watch Basic Instinct. But
yeah,
I think it definitely holds up. And like I said, what it reminded me of was Body Double, and even movies like Dress to Kill, those De Palma movies from the 80s that I think were trying to do Hitchcock style suspense movies in modern times. And of course now I guess this is referred to as neo-noir, but I suppose that's a better term for it. But no, I think it definitely holds up today, and I kind of wish we would. I've always known it's an important movie, and yeah, it didn't disappoint. I think Sharon Stone's performance is excellent. Also Michael Douglas, I give him a lot of points too. In fact, after watching this, I actually want to see what else he's done in that period, if any of that holds up to this, because I wouldn't mind getting some more movies with him in it too. But
Disclosure, maybe.
Disclosure's good.
Okay, is Disclosure good? I wasn't sure because that was based on a Michael Crichton novel, right?
I think it.
Yeah.
I think it is. He's fantastic in Traffic.
Traffic, I've seen that. I saw that in the theaters even when it came out. I think I have that on DVD as well. Also,
Falling Down.
Yes,
I have Falling Down. Yeah, Falling Down. Yeah, but I'm thinking like where he's like the leading man type. I'm trying to think what else he's been in. The Game, maybe. I haven't seen The Game yet, but yeah.
Oh wow!
I know Criterion put out a good edition of that too, so I need to look into that.
Yeah, that will mess you up. Because you're gonna think afterwards like, how in the world did they pull that all off? And
because I know in the trailer he always says fantasy role playing nonsense, and I'm thinking, what is he talking about? D&D? What's he talking about? It's
just wait for it.
Okay, I'll check it out. It's like
it's Fincher, so it's got his style all over it.
Oh, I do.
And, yeah,
David Fincher.
It's fantastic. One I would say that a great double feature with Basic Instinct would be Femme Fatale from 2002, and you talk about Brian De Palma.
Yes. Is that the one with Antonio Banderas and Rebecca Romijn?
Yes. And so Rebecca Romijn is basically playing a very Sharon Stone type character, but she plays with her sexuality so much in that movie, especially in the opening Bolero section of the movie, and it's fantastic. Like the whole scene in the bathroom and how they're the whole heist, and it's Brian De Palma. It's a classic Brian De Palma. Film, long takes. You could tell it's a De Palma movie, much like when you watch Mission Impossible, how that one stands out from the rest because it definitely has a distinct style from everybody else besides John Woo. I mean, you can tell that's a John Woo movie in the second one. But
the Mission Impossible, are all over the place.
Yeah, Mission Impossible really separates itself from the rest of the pack.
It does,
because everything else seems a little bit more generic. Whereas, there's purpose to Mission Impossible, like much of Brian De Palma's movies. But Femme Fatale is, I think, sensational. And if you've never seen that, I highly recommend that one. That one took me by surprise when I rented it 10 years after it came out. And I was like, wow, how did I miss this one?
I remember at the time Roger Ebert was very angry. He said, "Why aren't people going to see this movie?" He thought it was excellent. He really talked it up. So I do need to watch it. Yeah,
it's really good, very, very good. But I'm glad you like Basic Instinct. I really do, because when you're talking about Siskel and Ebert, they hated this one. They
interesting.
Yeah, if you watch the review, you're like, I'm like, what did I miss? Like, is it that bad? But then watching it again, I'm like, no, this one, it holds
Sometimes
up.
they get it wrong.
They said it was I think they said it was pointless. That was they
don't like horror movies either. Though there's certain people that don't like movies that are actually, I don't even want to say they don't like horror movies, because they would give a horror movie thumbs up every now and then. They like the original Halloween. I remember when that came out. They didn't like the other slasher movies, but they said Halloween was good. Sometimes I don't understand. I don't know. Was it the truth? I don't know. And did like a flurry of or was this after Fatal Attraction? Did like a flurry of like Femme Fatale thrillers follow Basic Instinct, or was just yeah.
So like it was Sliver, it was The Specialist. Like Sharon Stone was a bunch of them. Then there was a whole bunch of other ones that tried to.
Single white female come out.
I want to say that's. I'm not sure
after this.
Then there's Hand That Rocks the Cradle with Rebecca De Morey. I don't know when that came out though. That might have been Fatal Attraction. That might have been influence on Fatal Attraction though. That might have been this.
There was a trend. There was definitely a trend to like Disclosure. I mean, you think of it, like Michael Douglas is in Disclosure, Sharon Stone's in The Specialist, but I mean, I'm not sure whether that was sort of like a Basic Instinct thing, but it was more to get. I mean, there's that odd shower scene between her and Sylvester Stallone, which is so bonkers. But Sliver was definitely a year after this, which really was. It just almost seemed like it was trying to remake Basic Instinct, or at least that feel. And it wasn't a bad movie in itself.
But you said they messed up the ending. The heck.
Did y'all freeze or did I freeze?
Sorry, I lost you guys.
I did too. Okay.
What was the Madonna movie?
Body of Evidence.
With Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
came
really?
out, yeah, it's
That wasn't a good movie.
No.
That's an interesting couple, though. If they were trying to couple those two up,
They were coupling a little bit in that movie. Yeah.
Defoe's an interesting actor. He has range.
Yes.
Lighthouse, I had issues with that movie, but I did love his performance in it. I don't know if you've seen The Lighthouse.
Oh my God, what a great movie!
Did you like it? Okay, yeah. His performance is incredible, but
yes,
that's a weird one. Okay, that actually I do give them points, and they say they filmed it with film from around that time or something. Like they tried shooting it the way it would have been shot at the time that movie took place.
Everything was in the Academy frame, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Really good, and it's the same guy who did the Witch, I think.
Yeah, I like The Witch a lot.
And The Witch is amazing.
Yeah,
so
I've run into people who hate The Witch. I thought The Witch was brilliant, though.
That was great. Yeah, I think. Going back to the kind of like the erotic thrillers, I think the other two that stand out for me that really challenged and tried to do something different was Cronenberg's Crash, which is just weird.
I saw that.
Yes. And then if you watch the Wachowskis' Bound, and that has I think that's excellent. And I think
that's why when you said I thought you said Gina Davis, I got her confused with Gina Gershon. Like Gina Gershon played because she was in Bound, and she was in some sexy scenes in that movie. Okay,
yes, and I think Bound is great. But I mean, you're looking at that. I can't find anything. I mean, the only one that I could think of that would try to replicate maybe the shock value of what Basic Instinct was doing, but I guess without the murder mystery thriller aspect, would have been 50 Shades of Grey, but that was ridiculously tame compared to, from what it could actually have been. It was such a dumb movie. I mean, again, that's another one I laughed watching.
That's your bad movie New Year's Day movie.
Oh, it's so hilarious. My wife and I were watching it, and we were just roaring. I couldn't believe how stupid it was, but it was so. Yeah, it just seemed like there was for the subject matter, and from what I know of the book, and I never read it, it should have gone a lot further than what it did, and it didn't explore what it should have. And I still think Basic Instinct is for a movie that came out in 92, went further than a movie that came out like a few years ago, and it just seems so tame.
The Honest trailer
for 50 Shades.
The Honest trailer for 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
it was like a movie about BDSM, but whatever, and it's all missionary.
Yeah, it's so it comes off PG. It should have been more. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if there's anything that really challenges maybe something more independent European that would challenge the tropes that come out of Hollywood. But I think that, again, Crash and Bound are kind of like they separated themselves, and they're not necessarily. Oh, maybe they are erotic thrillers, but I think those two.
Well, Crash would be a weird erotic thriller. We're not talking about the one about I guess racism.
No.
You were talking about the one about the car, people getting off by getting into car crashes. That's just weird. Okay,
it is. What?
And Holly Hunter's in that, right? And James Spader.
What?
James Spader,
that's
Holly
weird.
Hunter. Watch it. It is bonkers, but fascinating. Really fascinating.
Oh, I do have a synopsis for that Nicolas Cage pig film if you want to hear it. It's only one sentence long, okay?
Sure.
A truffle hunter who a truffle hunter who lives alone in the Oregonian wilderness must return to his past in Portland in search of his beloved foraging pig after she is kidnapped.
What?
It's like a Disney movie.
It don't look like a Disney movie. It looks like Mandy, but with a pig instead of it being Mandy. I don't know if you've seen the movie Mandy. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Mandy's whack.
It looks like his only friend is the pig, and then the pig disappears. And I'm thinking, did some rival chef kidnap the truffle hunting pig and served her at the restaurant? And is he going to go on a big thing of revenge? And the trailer is interesting. I would check. It's called Pig, I believe. I think it's just called Pig. P-I-G.
Is he doing the
Comes out in
Con
July.
Air accent for the
He's
movie?
not doing. I don't think he's doing. He has a big bushy beard. He looks kind of like Rasputin, actually. Okay, so I'm kind of curious. I'm fingers crossed. It might be something worth checking out because I don't know. I don't know what else is coming out this summer that looked interesting to me.
Black Widow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That again, another weird thing is we're getting all these movies that were supposed to come out last year, and now we're finally getting them, and it's just weird. It's like I'm getting last year's leftovers, but they're not really. But and apparently they've remade Children of the Corn. I found that out too because I was watching the original today, and then I looked up the sequels, and there was supposed to be one that came out in 2020, and it's coming out I guess soon or something.
Oh no,
a Children of the Corn remake.
Oh boy!
And it looks like they gender swapped Malachi and who's the other guy, Isaac, in it, and they're girls this time around. And the one taller girl isn't even a redhead. And I was going to scream bloody murder, and then I was like, "But it's Children of the Corn. Who cares?" I'm sorry.
Wow.
I don't know if that's what it is. It could be a completely different thing. Sorry. Anyway. Have you ever seen Children of the Corn, Daniel?
I don't watch horror movies.
It's a Stephen King. It follows the short story exactly. I'm kidding, of course. Okay.
What horror movie could you recommend to a person who doesn't like horror movies?
It don't matter because we're watching some coming October. Yeah, maybe. What did we do last fall? We did some. We were trying to do more classics.
We did Dracula.
We did Bram Stoker's Dracula. We did Dracula and Dracula. We did the Frank Langella one. And then we also did the Francis Ford Coppola one. Okay.
We did Psycho.
Which I guess you could consider it a horror movie. I think it's kind of on the edge between suspense and horror.
Yeah.
And what was the other one we did? We did one other. We did 4 for October. I don't remember. Dracula.
Psycho.
I don't know. Well, actually, you could probably find by going through the videos.
Yeah, well, I know you took a weekend off.
That was the way. Oh no, that's why the 1 week got screwed up because you're going to do it with Big Al, and then you had having internet issues, so then we did Dracula the week later. So it's just Dracula twice. Yeah. I'm telling you, this fall though, I think I'm going to torture Daniel. We're going to do some. They're all going to be devil themed films. I think we're going to do The Exorcist. We're going to do. We're going to do The Omen, and then I'm thinking Amityville Horror and Race with the Devil. What do you think?
God.
Race. You ever see Race with the Devil?
I haven't seen Race with the Devil.
It's weird. It's Peter Fonda and Warren Oates, and it's a PG rated movie, but it's creepy.
What?
Race with the Devil.
A PG movie?
I don't, because back in the 70s, you could get away with a lot in a PG movie. Okay.
Oh yeah, you could absolutely. You can show nudity. You can say an F-bomb, at least one.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like Beastmaster, I think was full of nudity and violence, and it was a PG movie.
It was tasteful,
I mean, it was only
right?
yeah. It wasn't like, but I mean, it wasn't until Temple of Doom and Gremlins where they changed it to PG-13.
Yeah.
But PG movies were allowed to get away with certain things. Like I can remember watching PG movies with my folks. And I'm like, wait, hold on, that's a boob and that's an F word. What? Since when were we allowed to watch this sort of stuff? And you can say like shit 5 times or something like that. So it was like, wow, what's going on? These are special movies. But yeah, you can get away with a lot more with the rating system back then. But I think, I mean, if you haven't seen The Thing,
The Thing is good.
I think it's Carpenter's best movie, and
That's Ennio Morricone, right?
yeah, it's Morricone and Carpenter, and it's you'll never see better practical effects. Maybe next to Hellraiser, like just brilliant practical effects.
That's an odd score for Morricone because it sounds like a John Carpenter score.
Yep. Yeah.
And to be fair, Ennio Morricone did experiment with soundtracks, so I can see it being his anyway. But it's just odd for a score of his because it actually does sound like a John Carpenter score.
But I think if you watch that, I think you'll just see it as it's a horror movie, but it's thought provoking. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I mean, if you saw the stuff that you saw here in Basic Instinct with all the blood and guts and things like that, there's a couple of interesting surprises and a bit of gore, but it's a really solid film, like really solid movie. And I think if you watch that, I think you'd appreciate it. It's not overdone just for the sake of being overdone. Everything is there for story.
I don't want to compare it to this movie because obviously people always try to, but it maybe in the same genre, Alien. You know, Alien.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen Alien?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So The Thing is like an Alien style movie. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's not. They're not ripping off Alien, but it's another scenario where people are stuck and something's after them. But they do it. It's a different take on it. But yeah.
There's things you'll watch and you're like, how in the world did they do that? And it's still impressive to this day. And I think that if you can get through Alien, you'll get through The Thing.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate it for being not only just a great horror movie, but a great movie. Really,
we still haven't done Alien on this channel. We're going to have to do that at some point. That's a Goldsmith. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
The history behind that one is
there's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
That was a fascinating DVD to own because you got like 4 different audio tracks on it. Like they had different alternative. I think they had an alternative score track. I think they had a sound effects only and music only track on that DVD. It was very interesting. It's
if I'm not mistaken, I think they did an isolated as heard in the movie. Then I think they did one with the as intended, which kept all of his cues intact. They did something similar with Aliens, where they put Horner's score as intended in the film, and it's amazing because that score got chewed up, spit out, and rearranged all over the place as well. But to hear it in context as it was supposed to be, I mean, there's some weird edits because again, things were changing and some of it doesn't match all the time, but there's cues in it where you're just like, wow, how in the world did they mess around with this? It's fantastic. It's really great to listen to. Like, for instance, the resolution cue at the end, because they replayed Bishop's Countdown twice in that film. So the resolution cue, which eventually made it into Die Hard, plays exceptionally well. So when Ripley has jettisoned the alien out in Aliens, they replayed Bishop's Countdown over top of that. But there's a cue that Horner wrote that eventually wasn't used, and it works so well. And I don't know why they threw it out, but anyway.
Yeah, we did a Die Hard commentary, and Daniel brought that up. Yeah, that was a cue used over.
But yeah, I think watch The Thing. Totally. That, and if you want to have some fun, watch like Evil Dead. Well, I'd watch that whole trilogy because then once you get to Army of Darkness, you're like, what just happened to this series of films?
Army of Darkness has one of the best trailers I've ever seen for a movie.
Yes.
Excuse me, your shoe. He's in medieval times, and he goes to the guy, "Your shoelace is untied," and the guy looks down because that's never been used before, and he looks down and then he punches him. Yeah. It's
like, I mean, it's you know what it's comparative to? It's comparative to like Back to the Future 3, right?
Yeah.
You never expect him to go out to the West. Well, you have to watch Evil Dead and then Evil Dead 2, and you're like, what's happening in Army of Darkness? You cannot believe it's part 3 to that series of movies.
They set it up well in the beginning of 2 because it's like, oh, look at this. This guy was the savior who stopped the Deadites back in 1300 AD. Well, whatever. Oh, it's me.
It's so good.
I don't want to
and
spoil
all of
the
the
end,
best
ending.
one-liners. come from the Army of Darkness. Yeah, I
Well,
would
there are
watch
good
those. They're a lot of
one-liners in
fun.
Evil Dead 2 when the thing's saying, "I'll swallow your soul, I'll swallow your
that's
soul,"
true.
and then he sticks the shotgun in his face. Swallow this. You know?
That's right. Yeah. So many. There's a great series. I think you'd have fun with Evil Dead.
I
Yeah.
love Evil Dead, and I like the Ash versus Evil Dead show. I
Yeah.
dug the remake too. I'm waiting to see how this new one's going to turn out. We'll see. It's supposed to be coming to HBO Max at some point. The director seems keen on doing it, and Raimi likes him, but it's not going to have Ash in it. It's going to be like I don't know if it's going to be a new thing or if it's going to be a continuation of what we saw in the remake. I don't know.
I love the remake.
I thought it was good. I thought it was solid.
I thought it was fantastic.
Right.
Anyway, this was fun.
Yeah, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this, because you've I probably never would have really watched this very intently if it wasn't for you. So
It's a good movie. I've always kind of known it's a good movie. I just didn't get around to watching it. So I'm glad I did. And Sharon Stone's performance, I can see why she got a big career after this. And it's not just because of the sex scenes. It's because it's just a great performance. Her dialogue delivery in this is impeccable. Her and Michael Douglas play so well off each other in this movie. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know whether you agree with me or not, but I mean, that first scene, just like I said, it comes off so odd, but then the rest of it is just gold.
Yeah, it's almost like that was like the outtake, or like that was like, and I'm watching that, and part of me wonders if maybe that's on purpose, because you know what I wanted to say when we were watching it, that doesn't feel like the first time we meet her. The first time we meet her is when they go to pick her up to be interviewed down at the station.
Yeah,
it's like that part is just like, it's just off.
Yeah, it's off.
It's
okay. Yeah, that's why I watched it again. I was like, the way she's, none of it feels right.
Maybe Verhoeven didn't quite know what he was doing yet when they were shooting that scene. Maybe he figured it out as he went along. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole way it evolves, it's but the chemistry is incredible between the two of them, and I'm glad that worked out. And yeah, I mean, again, maybe it's the reason why you didn't watch it, because the reputation of this film, it shouldn't be what it is. And I just think it should be.
You know, I actually was almost thinking it was like an exploitative movie, but I got it because I think I was angry at how people were getting all upset about movies or something. So I figured I'm going to own this movie. I don't care. And I think that's what it was. And I just didn't get around to watching it. But it's actually a much better film than I ever thought about giving it credit for, because it's actually, it's pretty smart, actually. I don't know why it got so ragged on for so many years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But that's all. I mean, that's all anybody was talking about, right? Was the controversy, and it just nothing really came out about how. I mean, the direction's excellent. The cinematography is brilliant. The score is brilliant. I mean, the score did get an Academy Award nomination, which again I thought was very brave of the music branch. But just the acting itself, the script, none of it really comes up besides it being, this sex thriller, which it's part of it, but it's not the main focus.
No.
And I just wish it would. I wish that kind of that reputation would be torn off, and more of the things that should be celebrated should be, and including Sharon Stone being a very, very good actor, and her and Michael Douglas being excellent together in this movie.
Without that, you wouldn't have the movie. I am going to say this. Right. I saw a trailer for the new Blu-ray release, and they're taking it very seriously, and they are treating it like this great classic now. And I think people are now seeing it for what it is. Okay, now.
But you know what's interesting, because I was on Twitter when that announcement was made, and I saw a whole bunch of remarks where it's like, who wants the Blu-ray of Basic Instinct or the special edition of this, and who needs a remaster? I'm like, what? It just seems like there's a tarnished reputation for this movie, even though it was a massive hit. And I think it was a massive hit because of the curiosity that everybody had, and then they finally went to go see it. And I hope that people came out of it saying, "Hey, you know what? It's actually a really good movie," and not so much of, "Hey, look at all that nudity." I mean, I can understand. I mean, back then when I was, how old was I? 15. All you want to do is see boobies all over the place. But then as I've grown up and watched it again, it's like, wow, this actually is really solid really well done, and it's nothing like Paul Verhoeven has ever done before and after, and even like Showgirls was probably trying to do that, but there's just the way that this movie looks and the style, it's just so separate from everything else that he's done, and that's what I find really interesting, because it's a really I'm not sure what is Verhoeven about it, with the exception of maybe the excessive violence, and I guess the being very comfortable with the sexuality of it, but the rest of it doesn't feel like Verhoeven.
Does Showgirls feel like Verhoeven?
No.
Okay,
and I forgot
right.
that, and I watched it, and I thought that there was a pseudonym. I think that's what it is for the director. Like it was like an Alan Smithy film, and I thought his name was taken off of it when I first saw it, and I didn't realize it was a Verhoeven film, and it doesn't feel like it because it's so bad. But then when I see his name on it, I'm like, oh man, this thing sucks, and I don't know what is him in it. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
cool.
yeah. But I mean, like Starship Troopers feels like Verhoeven.
Yes, definitely.
Hollow Man does. They feel like it, but anyway.
Cool.
Basic Instinct deserves better.
Well, like I said, I think time will be the ultimate test. A lot of these movies that people, slough off as nothing, they end up being remembered 50 years. And I think Basic Instinct will be remembered in 50 years too. So
I hope so.
Give it time.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thank you everyone for coming by tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show and hope you got a new perspective on this film. I did, and I appreciate that. What are we doing next week, Boomer? Is it?
You said Star Trek 2 with Sir Ian is going to be on, right?
Okay.
He's going to be the guest next week. Okay.
Let me double check with him, make sure he's still good to go next week.
Okay. Love Star Trek 2.
Oh yeah.
And you're coming back for Showgirls?
Showgirls
Next month?
it is.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
I'm in. The
Thank you, everyone,
Verhoeven
again.
Film Fest continues.
Yes.
Yes. Everyone have a good night. Keep listening to great film scores. Adopt, don't chop, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night.